I am sure sports. You know me there, I'm coast to coast representing. I mean, I say this is righteous representing for Omar. You don't know, come get your sports over here from near and far. Boy. Me say I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. If me not sure, that me not say it. Know who score, that me not say it. Never know no game play, that me not say it. If me never seen a game, me not know who play. For your sports news, better come over here so. For your soccer news, then come over here so. If you don't love sports, still come over here. So, for the day done, you are gonna love over your son.
So when it comes on to behavior concerning football, Jamaica is decent. I am sure that if we can get all of these things done, set in place by the end of April, it gives us enough time before the World Cup campaign. Not afraid of no Brazil, no Argentina with these crapper players. We are good enough. Remember to like, subscribe, share. Listen, comment, let me know what your thoughts are.
Jerk Marinade gives your meats and vegetables authentic Jamaican jerk flavor. The spices are directly from Jamaica. Spices like jerk seasoning, allspice, Scotch bonnet pepper, fresh scallions, thyme, ginger, and garlic. The key ingredients to a great jerk marinade. 0% sugar and low in sodium. You want to try it?
Jamaican herbs and spices add delicious, bold flavor to your next grilling experience. Flavoring sauce, a marinade, basting, condiment, or topping. Trick Nick Jerk Barbecue Sauce.
Greetings and welcome to I Am Sure Sports. I'm your host. My name's Man. You know why they call me that name? Because I attended the great Manning School all the way out there in Westmoreland, Jamaica. So if you're a Manning Spa student and you're watching this stream, big up yourself. If you're from Westmoreland and you're watching this stream, big up yourself. If you're from Western Jamaica, you're watching this stream, big up yourself. And then if you're from Kingston as well, you need to big up yourself. You understand me? Especially if you're anywhere, Reddy's Road, Cassava Peace, Whitehall Avenue, Hungry Town, you understand me? 12, Unan Gully, 100 Lane, Park Lane, Roehampton, Avondale, all of those places. Big up on yourself. Anywhere in Jamaica you are, if you are from Rema, Trenchtown, Denham Town, Tivoli, Garden, Jungle, wherever you are, big up yourself. Wherever you are in Jamaica, overseas, big up yourself. So good to be here. It's a Sunday. We have a couple of things that we're going to do today on our show. We have an early discussion that we're going to have with Omar Rogers. I'm going to introduce him so you can know who he is. And then a little later today, we are going to have one of the first Jamaican to leave Jamaica and play in the leagues in Germany. Many of us don't even know that high school standout and represented the national team. We're going to be doing an interview with him at around 5:30 outside of our regular interview time, but we'll be speaking to him, and that promises to be a very interesting time. We're also going to talk a little bit about what is happening in terms of the local Premier League. We have some information where that is concerned, and I'm going to share some of that with you. But I don't want to delay our guest. He's a very busy man, a lot of engagements. I want to make sure I give him enough time to share on these matters. But bless up to all the persons already in on the chat. You know, if you're here, you're listening, not commenting. Greetings and good evening to you. Fresh God, bless up and thank you. Blue Mountain Entertainment Group, BMG. We're supposed to be collaborating, BMEG. So don't let me tell the people stuff. You need to reach out to me so we can put together that thing for the tickets that are coming up, right? So let me know if that is possible and we're supposed to connect on the Rowan Nelson sing Bumpy. All right, so let me know, BMG Peso. Bless up yourself as well, and thanks for joining the stream. I want to say a big thank you to all our subscribers. People, we're above 1,700. So the next target is 1,800. And you can help me today by getting 80 more subscribers so we can get to 1,800 subscribers. That would be a great thing. I see a big Clarendon College former footballer in the chat. Man, they call Rake. If you went to Clarendon College, you know, he won the DaCosta Cup with Clarendon College. He's out there studying to be a teacher right now. Yeah, man. Big up Rake, Ricardo Richards. He played for my team, but he abandoned me now because he's a big teacher with the Ministry of Education. But best of yourself, CC, man. You know, yeah, man, good to see you in the chat as well. All right, so without any further ado, I'm going to have our special guest, a Woolmerian. Don't know why he chose Woolmers. He must not have heard about Manning's High School, but he must have just buck up in Woolmers, you know what I'm saying? Because the real deal is the Mannings. Indeed. Yeah, man. Good day, Siobhan Peart. Yeah, man. All is well with you, and you hope all is well with you and your family as well. Mark. Oh, asking me that. No, so my program starts during the week from 11 to 1. All right. 11 to 1 predominantly. There are times when we have an interview that runs us up into 2 o'clock, which is we try to avoid. And then we normally, second interview, if we have one, we do it in the evening. So like next week, we have Michael Tuller. The week we're going to have Alan Skill Cole. The week after that, we have Michael Tuller, Aldean Dunn, Kazman, Jasbo Williams. We have several persons lined up. So based on how those interviews are lined up, we probably do one morning, one evening, because there are so many persons that are reaching out to us to be interviewed in the Legends Corner. So we try our best not to operate in a space and time that impact anyone else's program. So please just bear with us, but understand, we have to do what we have to do at the same time. So let me just bring on my friend Neo. How you doing, man?
Hey, Money Vans, how you doing?
Yeah,
I just have to say that I'm gonna give Manning School some respect still, because it's the only school that is remotely close to Ulmers in terms of age, right? And we've lasted the test of time. So congratulations to your school, but you don't know Ulmers is the best.
You know that Manning was actually, it's just because Hurricane Gilbert came and did some damage to our original building, the Thomas Manning building, and because we did a little bit of tuning or fine touches to the building, that was how Wolmer's became the oldest school. That's it, it's really Hurricane Gilbert that caused, the pendulum to have shifted your side. But big up and best up nonetheless. Kudos to Wolmer's. Yeah, man. But how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good.
Family doing well?
Family's doing well. Today, is Halloween.
Oh, yes.
So although it is not a tradition that I grew up with in Jamaica, my little son is keen on me taking him outside to do trick or treat.
Oh.
So yes, I know at some point tonight I'll be out there with them. It's funny because they don't even need candy. So let us see how that turns out.
All right, cool. And Neo, they call you Neo, because I know you're also a part of the coaches desk, Coach Minzy, who is here with us. Welcome, Coach Minzy. But you also did sport in school at Wolmer's and competed at Champs. You have to tell us just a little bit about that, to break the ice. What did you do at Champs?
Yeah, man. Football was my first love, but he didn't love me as much as I loved it. So I was not a big player. I hung around the Pepsi team, and I think that was the end of my footballing career. But while I was there trying to kick the ball on the field, Stephen Francis saw me, and he said, this is a big guy. why don't you come out and try throwing the shot put and the discus? So I went out there, threw the disc a little bit, threw the shot a little bit, and it turns out that I was pretty decent. In class two, there was this guy from KC, can't recall his name, but he held the record for class two for a very, very long time. And went to champs. I think it was my first year of competition. And on my first throw, I threw the discus. It flew out of bounds, and then it flew back in bounds. And when it landed, I thought to myself, I was like, wow, I didn't realize I could throw that far. Sometimes when you're out there competing, the nerves and the pressure and the cheering and everything, which is why I'm so glad we have fans coming back into the stadium. Those things lift your performance. So I broke the record, and my record stayed there for quite a while. And then I moved on to class one. I went to Carifta games, I think 2 or 3 times, won medals at Carifta. So, I was a pretty good thrower, but I pale in comparison to our current throwers who are actually going to the Olympics and doing big things.
Okay, but so after Woolmers, you never continued doing
It's funny because when I went to UA, UA in Jamaica. That's where I got my first degree. Julian Robinson, who is a Calabar coach, who has brought what's his name? Can't remember the name of the thrower now.
Frederick
Dakers and others. Julian and I believe, we used to go down to the bowl at UA and throw the discus on the shot put. And then, to be honest with you, I thought to myself, what's the purpose? Because when you get to university level in Jamaica, there's not much sports to be done.
Okay.
But thank God for Julian. He was more enthusiastic about it than I was back then. And his hard work paid off, because even though we couldn't foster any competition up at UA, he got to work at Calabar. And I mean, Stephen Francis is a legend. I think we need to give Julian him props, because he has really, with those athletes that he has trained, put us on the map in terms of throwing, So I recommend, since you're into the business of interviewing legends, let me put in a little thing for my friend here, Julian Robinson. Maybe that's a interview that you can do, and I'm pretty sure that many shot putters and discus throwers will probably tune in.
You have to take out the pretty out of it.
The pretty.
Yeah, just say that again. I am sure. You can't put.
I am. Okay, because that's not okay. Pretty. I hear what you're saying. So I am sure many of us throwers will turn up, And to be honest with you, Dakers does so well that if you investigate the American college circuit, many of them put up his videos to look at his throwing technique, and that's what they use to coach their athletes. So I mean, that is
awesome.
definitely top class. Yeah,
he's getting top class coaching. Awesome.
Yeah, because
awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. I will definitely do that. I'll reach out and see if you do an interview though that is track and field related, but it's never a problem. But that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Listen, I just want to remind all our subscribers and persons and viewers. All right, our sponsors today are Trademark. Right, Trademark is a Jamaican-owned company that operates in Brampton, Canada, and they make jerk spice, sauces, barbecue sauce, jerk marinade, curry paste, hot pepper sauce. And here's what they are offering: 25% discount on all their products if you use the code I am sure 001. I am sure sports 001. All right, they have an awesome deal in terms of how they do the shipping as well. That once you spend a certain amount, you pay like nothing for shipping. So it is Trademark, TRICNIC. All right. So here's what: if you are in Canada, the first video we do in November, if you are the first Canadian to join the stream, you will get a package of all Trademark products, courtesy.
That's awesome.
I'm sure sports. So that's actually tomorrow. So our first show tomorrow at 11 a.m. If you live in Canada, you get their products, a whole basket of their products shipped to you at no expense whatsoever, courtesy of I Am Sure Sports and Tricknick. And then the following Monday, if you're in the United States and you joined our first video that week, that's the second week in November at 11 a.m. and you say, I am in America, tell us where you are, you will then get that. All right. Next big deal you need to know is that in our Legends Corner, every time we have a legend on, the first legend we interview in a day, here is what we are going to do. For the Jamaicans, this is Jamaican. We will ask one question, and if you get that question right, $500 credit will be sent to your phone directly, whether it's a Lime or a Digicel number, right? So you can continue watching and subscribing and loving what we're doing. All right, so check out Tricknick. I mean, the code is in the description for this video. The name, it is spelled Tricnic. All right, so Tricknick, check them out. And once you have bought or purchased anything from them, you just let us know how they are, so we can know that we're promoting a very good, healthy, and authentic Jamaican product. All right, so yes, Arsenal people are asking, Neil, you mind me giving them, because you notice I'm wearing one of my Arsenal jerseys. So for those of you who want to know, I mean, some of you may not be interested, but I just think I'll let you know that Arsenal won again, defeated Leicester easy, like cheesy. You understand me? 2-0 early Saturday morning. Mikel Antonio, his team, they won today. They defeated Leon Bailey's Aston Villa 4-1. Both of them started, which is a good thing for Leon Bailey to see him starting. Manchester United rebound, as I told people they would, and they defeated Tottenham Hotspur by 3-0. Liverpool gave up a 2-goal lead to Brighton and ended 2-2 with Brighton. That was a good game. And Manchester City, they lost to Crystal Palace 2-0. Laporte was red carded in that game. And any big teams left? Oh, Chelsea. Oh, how could I forget them? Chelsea won by 3-0 over Newcastle. I mean, the new ownership yet, in terms of spending, they have not chipped in. But we'll talk about the Premier League a little later. But Neo, yes, sir. So I mean, something was brought to my attention, firstly by you, and we did some checks as it relates to the Reggae Boy logo. I think a few weeks ago we're doing a stream, and just looking at the logo, it is not like crocheted or like how the Arsenal, it is like in the jersey. It seemed like it's just print that can be taken off. And so further investigation kind of brought up some things that I'd love for you to take some time and kind of explain or share with the viewers. What are some of the things that, based on your research, you have discovered about the logo Reggae Boyz?
Yeah, I
should say, yeah.
right. Well, so the thing on the back of the shirt is the logo, right?
Right.
But of course, that is just like a mark, a sign that you can put on something. But the broader thing is your trademark, right? So your logo represents your trademark, right? Yeah. So I tell you, we were talking, for those people who were probably on coach's desk last night, we were talking about marketing, right? And how it appears as if we are not making a lot of money for the Reggae Boyz, for the team to utilize. We're not making money from the logo, from the trademark. So I decided to go and do some investigation, and from my investigation, it is a very lurid tale, right? So what I discovered was that in 1997, right, the Reggae Boyz trademark, it was registered to something called the Football Foundation of Jamaica, right? Now, this Football Foundation of Jamaica had a Jamaican address, right? And 1997 would have been on the cusp of when we qualified for the World Cup, right? What this kind of tells me is that perhaps at that time, the JFF created a foundation, and they use that foundation to be the vehicle to which they registered the logo, right? Um, and the logo was registered for quite a time because um, I think for years until 2006 when it was cancelled, right? So what happens is that once you have a trademark, you have to keep on registering it, you have to keep on protecting it, you have to keep on using it, right? So in 2002, in 2006, it was cancelled, the one that was owned by the Football Foundation of Jamaica. However, um, another person from Jamaica, I'm not going to call the person's name, they tried to register the Reggae Boyz trademark as their own in 1999, which would have coincided during that time when it was owned by the Football Foundation of Jamaica, right? That person was granted provisional registration of the trademark, but then suddenly in July of that same year, 1999, it was abandoned. Now, what it is telling me, and is that the Reggae Boyz trademark is a big deal. That there are lots of people who see value in that trademark, and there is very hot competition from people who are trying to get that trademark because I don't know if maybe viewers know, but there are a lot of jerseys, a lot of different type of headgear or rags or whatever that are being sold on Amazon or on different platforms. And even though it doesn't have the Reggae Boyz logo like you see, there are signals or little things on it that would direct your attention. People are trying to benefit from that trademark or from that brand, right? Um, One of the other things I discovered was that at some time, I think in the 2000s, um, right there on YouTube, there was a video put out by JFF Live, which seemed to be the official, website from the JFF.
Yeah, so the channel is called JFF Live. So we
Right,
don't know if it is if it is owned and operated by the Jamaica Football Federation, but that's what the channel is called, right?
right,
But go ahead, so because this is
right.
something
So
that we
we,
saw. That's
right.
in 2000 and it was it
I think it,
2006 or
yeah.
it's later.
I think it's 2006 or some. I don't know. It's later than 2006. You know what? I should have had the dates here, but what I'm going to do though is to say to the people watching, it's actually still right there on YouTube, and it says our new Reggae Boyz logo.
Right,
So if you
right.
search that, you'll see a video come up where there appears to be a new logo
A
with
new
some
logo
doctor,
with
right, some
the
Dr.
Dr. Bird.
Birds
Yes.
holding a ball, and it says Reggae Boyz,
Right,
right?
right.
So I'm not quite sure what to make of that because that was not the original logo, and that's not the logo that we use now.
Yeah.
So again, I can say that there is hot competition for this trademark, for this brand, right? And I don't know if at the time what was happening is that the Jamaican Football Federation may have been trying to, you know, reclaim the logo, or maybe they wanted to make a new one so that they could just simply use that new one and forget about the old one. If there were too many people trying to fight them for it, if they were having problems perfecting their claim for that trademark,
Okay.
right? Nevertheless, the tale doesn't end there, right? Recently in December of 2020, right? And new registration was filed by a Brussels-based company,
Yeah, right.
right? So they have registered themselves as the owner
Which is the same
of the
person which is the same person who was trying to get it a few years earlier.
no.
Oh,
This
oh,
is
this
a
is a different
different
person.
this is a
Okay.
different person, right? So so again, I mean, I have to emphasize that, I mean, this is irregular for there to be so much competition around one trademark,
Yeah.
around one brand,
Yeah.
right? But this company is located in Brussels, and it is out there in the public. So I don't really have I don't, I debated with myself whether or not I'd actually say the name of the company, but this is all on the public record. Anybody can go on the internet and find this, right? So the company is called Business to Sports, right? So they filed for ownership of the trademark in the European Union, because the European Union has a registry where you can register trademark,
Okay.
right? And then after filing that they were the owners of the trademark in the European Union, they tried to file a registration in the United States to say that they're owners of the Reggae Boyz trademark as well,
Okay.
right? They were given provisional ownership of the trademark. However, it is not final because there are outstanding information that they have to provide to
Sure.
the United States trademark office for them to to say, well, yes, they are the established owners of this trademark.
Okay.
Interestingly, what I discovered was that when this company filed for ownership of the trademark in the European Union,
This is in
um,
December 2020, which is
yes,
recent. I mean, this is like last
recent,
year. Yes.
yes, when they filed for it, it was the name associated with that company was the name of an attorney who's a European, attorney, right? Nevertheless, I can tell you that having done some more research, I discovered that there is also a Jamaican attorney who is associated with that company. Um, and I don't want to say that there is anything nefarious about what they're doing. It could be a situation where the JFF has retained them as agents to register the trademark, and that there may be some arrangement between the JFF where um, you know they're earning money on the trademark and it is being sent back to the JFF for them to reinvest
Okay.
into the JFF. Or unfortunately, it could be something else. It could be that this company is another competitor, like we've seen in the past, who are trying to lay claim to the trademark so that they can simply profit off of it at the expense of the GFF.
Okay.
Or another scenario is that it could be that, well, I don't want to mention that scenario, but it could be something. It could be something that is more nefarious. But at this
Yeah.
point, it is unclear. I think
That's it.
interestingly, one of the things you and I discussed, Omar, is that we see that they have an agreement with Umbra,
With Umbra, right? No,
and
this is
we
your. Go
see,
ahead.
right, and so we see the logo on the back of the jersey, and it says Reggae Boyz, right, and so it is very hard to imagine that Umbra entered a deal where they're making jerseys for the JFF
Putting on a logo,
using,
yeah, that is not
right,
owned by the GFF.
that is not owned by the JFF. So I don't know. I mean, Umbro is an English company, and I'm sure they did their homework. Although I'm not certain when Umbro entered the deal with the
Right,
JFF. I don't
because
know the
this
date
was in December 2020, so the
precisely.
deal may have been before that
Precisely.
with Umbro, which means that they probably would have had the trademark to have been to use before that, but since December, something could have changed.
Right. Or they may have said to Umbro that everybody knows that trademark is ours, that logo is associated with us, and we are just going to renew our registration and then somebody beat them to it, or I mean, they're just there are plenty of different scenarios. It could also be that a third party who has interest in that trademark is also being cut in on that deal with Umbra.
Right, right, right.
But
All right.
for whatever it is worth, I think that Umbra deal is worth, I think, $41 million.
Yeah,
And
US.
so yes,
In
and
USA.
right, and there's a schedule of payments where Umbra has made payments to the GFF. It's a significant sum of money into the GFF over a period of time. I still think that there's still more money to come from that deal, although I can imagine that the majority of it has already come to the GFF.
Yeah. All right. So I see Pagan. I mean, first Formula Sports. Thanks for joining. Yeah, man. Said our new logo video was posted 4 years ago on the JFF official JFF YouTube channel, which is the same one we saw it and called JFF Live. So that was 4 years ago, which is like 2017 there. But it has a new logo on it, which is what we were saying. Could it have been them trying to just do something new, which would not make any sense unless someone else kind of owned it. I was in the process of trying to own it, and they couldn't do with it and wanted to move on, seeing that the present Reggae Boy logo was from 1997, as far as we can remember. All right, but then as a Pagan 180 saying that this is where the JA government should step in as well. This is a bigger brand, Jamaica, which is more it's more than which is more at stake, right? Suspect he's saying this is just bigger than football. This is Jamaica that it could implications for, because the question here is, can someone like take an American based logo and own it in Jamaica by these means, and then the person have to pay them or buy it back from them?
Well, you see, this
Is
is
there any way the government can say no? This is because I don't want this is a Jamaican based thing. You can't own it. You
well, you see,
or
this
that
is the
don't
thing.
matter from a legal perspective.
Well, let me explain it this way. So this is a trademark is a privately owned thing, right? The government doesn't own it. The government really doesn't have an interest in it. The truth of the matter is that this trademark was associated with the Reggae Boys, associated with the GFF, and it would have been incumbent on the GFF to continue registering themselves as the owner of the trademark. They would have to take actions to protect the trademark. But let me just broaden out the discussion, because again, everybody probably knows, say, here comes the bylaws, man, right? Because I keep on talking about that. So one of the things is that if you look at the bylaws of the United States Football Federation, they have a specific section in their bylaws where it says that the names, logos, and marks of the Federation may be registered with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. No one may use any name, mark, or identification or any of its logos without the express written consent or written authorization of the Federation, that is the USA Federation. The Jamaican Football Federation's bylaws, they don't have any equivalent language. The only thing mentioned is about broadcasting rights. There is no directive in our articles of incorporation or the bylaws where it says that this is something that they have to protect. One of the things that you have to know about marketing. No, I'm not a marketing specialist, right?
So
But what I
you're
can
saying that nothing, unlike the United States, that in their bylaws something is in there as it relates to their trademark. There's nothing in our present bylaws that speak to trademark issues.
I tell you, I've read it and I don't see anything. The closest thing that comes to it is a section in there where it talks about section 28 of the bylaws, which talk about broadcast rights. And
Okay.
it says GFF is the owner of the exclusive rights for broadcasting and transmission by whatever audiovisual and sound broadcasting media, live deferred or highlights of football events played in Jamaica.
But even that Neo is that mean that I could still use the GFF. I'm going to tell you this. A lot of YouTubers use the GFF, that whole symbol with the Jamaican flag and the round thing, and their videos are and stuff, and nothing. You can't do that with the American thing really and own like some of those things is what you're speaking about. Like the image right would belong to the the United States Soccer Association.
Right. So basically what happens is that you're not supposed to use it. But it's all about enforcement, right?
Yeah,
And this has been the problem with the JFF. There's nothing in the bylaws which says that they have to protect it. And it seems as if they haven't really taken any actions to enforce their ownership of it. So, for instance, if you or somebody else, YouTuber, uses the JFF logo, chances are they don't want to come after you because you're talking about Jamaican football and you're not really making a big profit, or whatever profit you're making is so small that it's really not worth them hiring a lawyer to stop you. You
right.
understand? And so they probably will not come after you for doing something like that. But there are other trademarks and other logos, which, for instance, the USA Football Federation logo or trademark. What happens is that in today's world, a lot of goods and items are sold over the internet, right? All over the world.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, when you register a trademark in Brussels and you register a trademark in the United States, there's also there's another, you can basically register a trademark worldwide
So
where
could
a
it, let
hundred.
me ask, sorry to cut you, but right, so it's the United States Soccer Federation. Thanks, Robert. So let me
Mhm.
ask you, could the trademark that the JFF have be registered in Jamaica, and they can
Yes.
say, and they could say to these people who are trying to own it overseas, no, we this was registered in Jamaica from 1997, and it has always been, so you can't use it, or Jamaica, it doesn't cover jurisdiction in North America and in Europe. You have to do a separate registration. Uh, how does it work? Like
Right. So
when
this is
something
what
is
I'm going to
registered,
explain.
right? Because what I want to know is that if something is registered in Canada, can I re-register it in Jamaica? I don't think so. So why, if
So
it is registered in Jamaica, it can be registered by someone else in the
mhm.
United States, as an example? Go ahead and
All right.
explain.
So here's the thing. So trademarks are registered, can be registered locally, right? And I actually went to the Jamaican trademark office to search to see who owns the Reggae Boys trademark in Jamaica. But unfortunately, the Jamaican trademark office, they don't have a database that you can search online.
Okay.
I suppose you'd have to go there and find out. But let's assume that the JFF has registered themselves as the owner of the Reggae Boys
In
trademark
Jamaica.
in Jamaica, right? Once you've done that, you also have to register it in other places. There's something called the Madrid system, right? So the Madrid system is, well, it's a Madrid protocol. It's like a treaty, right? And once you own it locally, you can also register yourself as the owner through the Madrid system. And then what happens is that basically that system will show you as the owner of the trademark in over 119 jurisdictions.
What is that called? The Madrid what?
The Madrid system,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So basically, that issue that you're talking about, it was a real issue in the past, but in order to overcome those problems, the governments and the attorneys have all made treaties where you can basically, if you register your thing locally, you can also go and register it in the US. You can register it in the Madrid system, and basically you'd have worldwide recognition as the owner. And the reason this is important, as I was saying before, is because goods are sold all over the world, right? And so the GFF could actually, if they do it, their trademark would be recognized in Jamaica, in the United States, in the European Union, and whichever other countries subscribe to the Madrid system, they would be recognized as the owner. But the problem is that if you are registered locally, but you have
Yeah.
not registered in the US or you've not registered in the Madrid system, then what you're doing is allowing mischief because there are
Yeah.
going to be other entities, other people who are trying to beat you to that registration so that they can, they can say, well, we are the owners of this trademark and we're the ones who should benefit from it.
Okay, I see what you mean. All right. So, all right. Whoa. So, I think I saw Pagan putting up something that I think when you were speaking about the registrar of companies, he said upgrade database 2021. I believe that he's suggesting that the database was upgraded, so you probably would find it online. But I know your research was recent, so
Hmm.
it means that it is not seen up there anyway. And Neo is saying that the word intellectual property we for organization, which is
Right,
right. All right. So basically, where we are right now is that there is no surety as to who owns what is called Reggae Boys as a
right.
trademark, as a logo, right?
And Omar,
Because
it's not just the Reggae Boys, because I also looked into the ownership of the Reggae Girls trademark.
oh, you did. Okay, well, tell me
Yeah.
about that. Yes, I hope it's not the same. You
Well,
see, here's the thing: if it is a different person, it means that it's not. I don't believe then it's under the JFF control, because you
right,
talk about a company in Brussels. So let's hear how this one pans out. Go ahead.
right. So the Reggae Girls, let me see here. I looking through my notes. I focus more on the Reggae Boys, which my apologies to the ladies. I should stop myself from doing that. But I think sometime in 2019, the Reggae Girls trademark was owned by um, the Reggae Girls Foundation,
Right.
which was a foundation located in Florida.
R- okay.
So unlike the foundation that was for the Reggae Boys, which was located in Jamaica, shortly after 1997, the Reggae Girls Foundation was located somewhere in Florida. And so they were the ones who were in control of the registration of the Reggae Girls trademark. Um, I looked at it. I saw the names of the people who were involved, the attorneys, and I can't really tell if they're Jamaican or not, you know. But I think it is troubling to me because it is, it should not be a mystery as to who owns and control these trademarks, because essentially the ownership and control of these trademarks are vital to the marketing of the Reggae Girls and the Reggae Boys. And so, for instance, when you look at these trademarks, it says that, you know they have trademark for clothing items, for shoes, for rags, for headgear, for any sort of merchandise, right? And the point is that all of these things are available to the Reggae Girls and the Reggae Boys to be merchandised and sold, so that you can make money to help develop the program, right?
In other
But if
words,
you
somebody
don't,
somebody somebody could just go and make these things and start selling them
yeah,
and make money.
yeah, but and none of that money, if the JFF has not done their due diligence to make sure that they own and protect these trademarks, that money is going to somebody else and not going to the program.
Yeah.
And for people who are more, up to mischief, that it could be some nefarious activities going on. I'm not saying that it is. All I'm saying is that your failure to do these things and the lack of transparency can lead people to have those thoughts as well.
All right. Whoa. I mean, this is so much stuff. So if the JFF is listening, Neil, as an attorney, right? What would be your advice to them in terms of best practices to get like Pagan one AC is saying, get your house in order? simple. What
Yeah,
what step needs to be taken? Because part of what we want to do is to offer solution. Because this could, like I said, this could mean someone else owns the right. They could come and say, listen, for you to use this, you have to give me $100 million. All right, or it has to, it, it could mess up the Umbra deal, all of these things. All right, so is there a way that this can be resolved in the in the short order, like in the near future, so that and be made transparent, so we the people can know that this is legitimately owned by the Jamaica Football Federation? Are there any solutions to this? But let me, I see, I think this is Foreign Spider. I offered to do the website for the GFF for free. Every meeting got postponed or canceled. Whoa. And I've been hearing this also in Nia, that many persons have called, reach out, suggested help to the GFF, and there has been no
response,
response. Right,
cooperation.
right, right. And I'm wondering why. Here it is that someone else is saying that they offered to do it for free. But go ahead and let me, and I mean, you can respond to that, but then you get back to what I was asking about. How can this be resolved, given all that you have seen, all that you have read? I know you're not mentioning any names, but I know when we spoke, the person in Brussels has Jamaican connections.
Yeah, see,
So all of these things are also saying to me that because there's an integrity issue in the eyes out there, the public believes that there is a transparency and there's an integrity issue. What you don't want the people to believe is this, and I can put it out there. You don't want the people to begin to think that could someone associated with football in Jamaica have this offshore place that owns it, that everything that comes in once Reggae Boyz is used, they get a part of the money. You don't want those things. And so for that reason, I think it is important that there will be transparency. It is clear that it is owned by the GFFR. They have given it out to this company, and why would they do that, and how does it benefit us if it is done that way, right? Or they just don't know and they need help? Because those
well,
are
you see,
those are the
Omar,
options. Go ahead.
it is very important. So, you know, the GFF live website,
Yeah.
right? It was up maybe 6 months ago, and if you try to look on it now, it just the website is not loading. They had on there the bylaws, they had the articles of incorporation, and they also had their financial statements. Now, they had it there because they're required by law to put these things out. They're a non-profit organization, and they are still regulated by the Companies Act in Jamaica, and they're required to disclose these things, right? The website is down, and you can look at it. I commend them for having it there. Sunshine is always the best disinfectant, because I can tell you that having read through their financial statements, I do not recall seeing any item line for earnings that they may have gotten from selling merchandise. It certainly did
Over
list.
what period? Over what period, though?
Well, that would have been from 19, I think 19. No, sorry, my bad. That would have been a 1 year period, and it would have been from 20. I think it would have been from 2019 to 2020, or 2018 to 2019. I can't recall exactly.
Okay, so over a 1 year period, there's no item line that suggested
Right,
money came into the coffers of the GFF through merchandising.
right.
Whoa.
So I can't. So the truth is, I'm not an accountant, and it could have been listed in other ways. Um, but the problem is that you have to be a lot more creative when it comes to making this money. And so, if they didn't own the trademark, or if somebody else owned the trademark and was selling merchandise out there and the money's not coming to the GFF, or if there are people who are associated with the GFF, who are associated with the other owners of the trademark, and they're making money, and the money is coming back into the GFF in some other way, or maybe not
Yeah.
at all. We don't know.
Yeah.
As for the trademarks, you can hire attorneys, right? You hire attorney, and the attorney is going to challenge the ownership of the registration. So, for instance, I mentioned that in 1999 there was an attempted registration by another owner, right? But then it was abandoned because what happens is that you can always, um, you know, you can oppose the registration. You can hire an attorney to oppose the registration and say, listen, this trademark is mine. It has always been mine, and let me show you why. And so the
Okay.
JFF has the ability to
To
hire
reclaim it.
attorneys, yes, and to say that this company in Brussels, if that company is not working with the JFF can challenge their ownership and that registration not only in the US, but they can challenge it in the European Union too. So they can get attorneys to do these things. Now, I don't know how much money that costs, but I can assure you that the money it costs to hire those attorneys to
They will
do
make
that
it back if they own it.
tenfold, tenfold.
Yeah.
It is small in comparison to what they would do if they're able to perfect their ownership of the trademark and to exploit it selling merchandise.
I'm
Another
here
issue
one.
is,
I'm here wondering, like, could it be a case where, all right, so we actually own this, but here's the thing: you can run it over there, make some money using it, and give us a percentage of it. Which is all we're saying is that if that is the case, let us know.
well, Amar,
Because
so here's
how is that money recorded in the system? Because that is
so
the
that
issue. That that
that's
that
the
is the
issue.
whole issue. Like, we all right. How is this? Is it Umbra now, right? How is this Umbra deal structured to deal with that issue?
And I did research. I tried to find that Umbra deal, but I was unable to obtain it, and probably rightfully so. Maybe you shouldn't have these things available for the public to just go and inspect. I don't know, right? They're not required to put that Umbra deal out there. But it would have been interesting to be able to look at it to, try and have a bit an idea or a conclusion as to what exactly is going on. Right? Like I said, the research gave me more questions than answers, right? But it's definitely a good conversation to have because these are the nuts and bolts of what it means to market, to market the Reggae Boyz trademark, to market the team, to develop your brand. And I'm going to tell you this. I mentioned it last night. I was on coach's desk. Um, but in 2019, right, the USA Football Federation made $51 million US dollars from the licensing of its logos through royalties, through sale of merchandise. This is them exploiting their trademark. They also have a kit deal with Nike, and they make a lot of money from that kit deal too. So that would be equivalent to the kit deal that we have with Umbra.
Yeah.
But unlike the United States, who made $51 million from merchandising, as far as we can tell, the JFF has made $0
From
from
merchandise.
from merchandising. No, that is just completely unacceptable. I mean, that
Given the brand that Jamaica itself is, not just the Reggae Boys, but the brand Jamaica.
yeah,
I mean, listen, one thing I know is that when it comes down to Jamaica, Jamaicans, especially living abroad, um, once there's something with the Jamaican colors, so it is not just like a Reggae Boy, but to identify with Jamaica, they support it. And just other people, it don't have to be Jamaicans, because Jamaica itself is sort of this global brand that we need to maximize.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, another thing too, as a pagan mentioned it, but I was going to come to this. It is demoralizing because, as a fan of the Reggae Boys, right? You don't want to be out there buying merchandise and it's a knockoff.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be buying a merchandise when the logo is owned by somebody else and you know that you're not really being able to support your team. That sort of thing discourages people in the marketplace from trusting your trademark, and it diminishes your brand in the eyes of the public. And another thing, more importantly, is how do you get sponsors? How do you get people to invest in you when you have not even invested in yourself in order to perfect the ownership of your trademark?
Yeah.
Right? When people come in, when big sponsors come in from Jamaica or from Britain, from Europe, wherever, and they come into your offices to talk about sponsorship, and it is, if they're going to be doing their own homework, and if like me they discover that you fail to perfect the ownership of your trademark, or it is very abstruse and you can't tell, people not going to want to come in and give you that money and do business with you.
Yeah.
So I mean, on so many different levels, this is such an important issue that needs to be resolved. And I can tell you what, the marketing manager, I mean, listen, I remember,
There's no marketing manager.
well, didn't they rehire somebody
No,
who,
no, that's what I keep telling people. I think I said it in my video. There's no marketing manager. The
okay,
marketing manager left. Someone was supposed to come on to be a consultant. All right. And
mhm,
I haven't heard much about that recently, which is suggesting that that person isn't doing any work right now because there's no marketing manager unless someone else has taken it. But the person who, I think her name was Sophia Harris, I think, she wasn't coming on to be the marketing manager. She operates her own company. She did
right,
say that she is a consultant, and consultancy is different from a marketing consultant is different from a marketing manager. There's a clear distinction in terms of what their roles are. A marketing manager is the one who does the day-to-day stuff and thing. The consultant is that marketing manager brings information to the consultant who give expert advice and say, you know what, that can work, tweak it here and that. I think that was supposed to be her role. I am not even sure if she's in that capacity right now, because it
mm,
just never, how it sounded in the interview, it never sounded like I am coming in to restructure or to add to marketing within the GFF.
right. And all right, so I'm glad you cleared that up. I guess, I I know that you mentioned it. I do recall she mentioning that she would be in a consultancy role. Nevertheless, as a consultant, you can still come in and do some work. And I think one of the first thing that they would
But
need
what
to
I'm
do.
saying, no, but what I'm saying here, sorry to cut you, right?
Mhm.
If the department in my organization that is struggling is the marketing department, right? I had a marketing manager who wasn't functioning effectively, all right? So she moved out or I moved her out, however it want to be. Why would I now get someone who is going to come in and give advice? Don't I want a marketing manager who is actually going to work on marketing the thing and get things going in this time? I can't, like, to me it don't make any sense. I
Well,
would
look, Art,
need somebody hands-on, somebody who's going to get into the nitty-gritty of things and to get it going.
and
Like, people, go ahead.
it brings me back to another issue that look,
See,
the
farmer is
truth,
saying the same thing that I am saying. That's what
yeah.
I keep telling people, is advice and instruction. She operates her own company. Not only that, I said to people, she left the post a year ago. A year ago, we're not in a better place. I mean, she would have done some things that she must be getting credit for. But if you leave a place a year ago and it has fallen this far, it also speaks about the legacy of your own leadership, in my opinion.
So I'm going to I'm going to suggest something to you. It's you know, and And I don't want people to think that I am trying to say somehow that the way things are done overseas is always better than the way things are done in Jamaica. It's not about that. But what happens is that you don't want to reinvent the wheel. And if other people have come up with solutions to problems that you're having, a good place to start at least is to look at how their solutions work for them and see if it will be applicable to you.
Yeah.
And um, so for instance, the United States Football Federation, they created a company called Soccer United Marketing, right? Which is unlike the U.S. Football Federation, which is also a non-profit. They created this company um, that is a for-profit company, which means that company's function is to make money. Because the truth of the matter is, people who work in non-profits are not always the best people at making money.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're volunteers, and sometimes they work in situations where they have different goals apart from profit. They may have goals having to do with social issues or something like that. Um, and so, I think that having a consultancy, what they need to do is to form a different company altogether, a for-profit company, right? Which would have a marketing arm in that company too. In fact, it would be really a glorified marketing company. You understand? Because that $51 million that the U.S. Football Federation earned was through this company.
Okay, so the
That
JFF,
company,
your suggestion would be for the JFF to start a new company that is a marketing company dedicated to, yeah, maybe that is the idea,
yeah,
and let those
and
people work on a commission basis. So because
uh,
how
yeah,
are we going to, I'm trying to figure out how how do you is this person who is coming in going to be paid? So you remove a marketing manager who was paid to pay a consultant. Like it don't make a lot of sense. So you said start a new company.
yeah. I believe that they can start a new company. What they need to do is to go and look at this model that the United States had, and to be honest with you, that Soccer United Marketing is also associated with the MLS, right?
Yeah.
Because not only have they marketed the U.S. Football teams, meaning the men and women's team, but they're also marketing in the MLS. And the truth of the matter is that we also have the JPL in Jamaica that needs marketing as well. So it's a kind of a joint venture. And because it is a for profit company, right, they will either make profits and pay themselves, or if they don't make
Exactly.
profits, they won't get no money.
Exactly. So it's commission
And
based pay.
yeah, and so
Yeah.
therefore, they have an incentive to go out there and make this money, and then there's a profit sharing agreement between them and the
Yeah,
JFF.
and because not only that, because it is commission based, you can widen the lower tier of your marketing team,
Yeah,
right? Because it's commission
I,
based, you can have a thousand people in the States doing it, 1,000 people in places in Europe, 1,000 people in Jamaica, 3,000 people, and it is all
yeah,
commission based.
yeah, and they have to be agile. They have to be knowledgeable about how these things are done. And the truth of the matter is, no disrespect to the Jamaican Football Federation, but we have a lot of people who know a lot about football, but less about business, less about trademark, less about international sales. That's not their area of expertise. You understand? And so what they should do is not feel inhibited about entrusting those areas into the hands of people who know what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
And so, listen, the American, remember, there was a time when the USA and Jamaica, you could have argued that Jamaica was ahead of the USA in terms of footballing and football development.
Well, even
And
in
then,
terms of the market in 1998 during France, the amount of Jamaican merchandise. And this is part. Listen, I don't think it's just people like it's not just a footballing issue. I think we have, in the same way we haven't capitalized on our football. I don't think we have capitalized on track and field enough. I mean, Usain Bolt has really left track and field, and a wide cross section of Jamaicans have not benefited from marketing Usain Bolt. It happens in the entertainment industry with a Bob Marley. Thank God for his children who are doing a tremendous job with his legacy even today. And if there is one place we can look to in terms of how important legacy marketing is the Marleys. That look how long Bob Marley has gone. Over 20
Yep.
years, over 30 years, over 50 years is what? Over I don't even know how long, but so many years, over 40 years at least, and so much continues. Like you still see a Marley shirt being sold and the Marleys get money.
Right. And the truth of the matter is that I know that the Marleys spend money. They spend money trying to protect their trademark. You understand? They spend money trying to protect the image
Yeah,
rights. You know, they hire these attorneys to do these things because it is
40,
the world
40
that
years
we,
new, 40 years. Thanks,
yeah,
Mark Chambers. Yeah.
the world that we live in. A man can download an image and print it on a shirt and sell it. You understand? In China,
But
in Timbuktu.
yeah.
So I mean, the truth of
Sorry
the
here.
matter is,
Sorry, you
yeah,
made a very good point because you know I'm in Saint Anne. I challenge people to go in the inbound stores in Saint Anne or in any of the other tourism, strong tourism area like Montego Bay or Negril, and look how many jerseys you see with Reggae Boys on it that Jamaica don't benefit from any way at all, or the Reggae Boys don't benefit from.
and the truth is, well, and we don't know who's benefiting from it. You know, and look,
Yeah,
and the truth of the matter is, the trademarks and the logos, they are assets, and we need to think of them as assets because anybody can print this thing and sell it and profit on your brand and profit on your trademark. You'd be a fool not to protect it. You understand? Because basically, them boxing bread out of your mouth. You know, and so what I was the point I was making about the USA is the USA women's team, they've always been good. But the men's team have made leaps and bounds, especially because the USA has become uh very intent on the business side of their football. You understand? And this is the sort of thing that we need to do in Jamaica as well. And I'm not saying it's because or what they do is better, but what we're currently doing is not working so well for us. So we must need, we need to look to other places to see what they're doing. They're our neighbors, and so we can learn from them too.
yeah, yeah. Man, I'm telling you, it's just I hope I hope that someone is listening, and that is always the hope that someone is listening because this information is out there. I mean, you found it, so others can. And this is not. I mean, the purpose of this program is not to is not um to knock the GFF, but to identify issues out there that can be source of income that they may not they may not realize that not owning it is costing them more money than if they put the effort in it to own it,
Yeah,
right?
and I think it's interesting because like we saw with that video from JFF Live, I don't know if it's the real JFF or it's some imposter,
Yeah,
but it seemed as if somebody was trying to make another logo,
yeah, right.
right?
That's what we saw notice because it's completely different. Which is
Yeah,
which is even changing brand is so difficult. Like
right.
because you understand me, changing brand is so because the thing with changing brand, like, especially in a market like Jamaica, that people will still buy the old brand if there's not a strategic marketing transition from the old one to the new one.
I mean, and the truth of the matter is, there is no, we would be, any attempt to make a new logo and to start over would be foolhardy. because the name Reggae Boyz is
It's
so
synonymous.
synonymous
Yep.
with the team, right? That you'd be giving away a gold mine. And so, this is something that they absolutely need to do. And anybody who come there, right, and who, if you're a marketing consultancy firm and you're working for the JFF, I would hope that one of the main things that they're going to do is not just to look for sponsors, meaning not to just beg money from people, but that they're going to go out there and make sure that these trademarks are registered and try and exploit them and sell goods in order. Listen, it's not just national federations who do this. I mean, we look at Chelsea, we look at Arsenal, we look at all of these teams that we
All right,
like.
sorry, I have to correct you. You have to call Arsenal first.
Yes, sir. This is your show. So, right? But the point is, we look at all of these clubs and what did they do? Their trademark, their logos, their brand, they invest heavily in it,
Yeah.
right? And what do we lack in Jamaica? What we need for transformation in terms of our infrastructure, meaning building better fields, meaning investing in the clubs, because the money that coming into the JFF, you can have it for, yes, you're having it for the World Cup campaign, but in the off years, that money can be put back into Jamaica. You understand? And
Exactly.
if we have vibrant clubs that people want to watch, not only will our players increase in terms of being able to get deals overseas, but we'll also increase the money for the owners of clubs. We would give people better businesses. There is a multiply effect. I mean, this is how you enrich yourself and your country. It's a win-win.
Yeah.
you know However, if you have a situation where people are trying to do nefarious things and pocket money on the side, and or something like that, and let me say, I don't know if that's happening,
Yeah.
right? But if your main goal is that you wanna do these things so that you know everybody rise. It can't just be a one man rise or a crab in a barrel thing. You understand?
Yeah. I see. I'll take a couple of comments. Neil, correct me if I'm wrong, but then Carol Beckford and Coach's show said that Reggae Boys merchandise made in China were being sold on the internet.
I watched the show last night. I can't say that
Yeah.
for sure that she said that specifically.
But
So I can't really.
it's not impossible because they are known for knockoff. You understand me? Just a different way, just like how the Nike thing sometimes they do the other way around and sell the stuff. And if you don't know, you don't know. But who is it? The JFF like this is something that next week people I'm going to find out because part of the issue I have is that like if you run an organization like the Jamaica Football Federation that participates in the kind of competition that they does kind of brings in the kind of money from the international federation and major sponsors. There should be a group of lawyers, one that covers because there are different kind of lawyers. Some lawyers are very versed in the areas business law, as you know. You have the other part of law that has more to do with employment negotiations. That is, I don't remember, but that is different from the person who practices business law. You have lawyers that turn up to court, defense attorney. So what I want to know is there a group of lawyers that work within the GFF like to deal with some of these matters? Or is it that listen, we have some lawyers and if something pops up based on what it is, we will call so and so to come in. So you don't really have persons. So if Puma gives you a deal, for example, you call an attorney and say, hey, go through this for me, let me know what you're saying, how much money am I supposed to give you? But we are going to check on that.
So let me just add to that. Basically, a lot of corporations have what they call in-house counsel, and that attorney is responsible for dealing with the legal issues that happen with the corporation. But what that attorney does primarily is that they will respond to these situations by hiring outside counsel. Because as you pointed out, you know, if you're a jack of all trades, you're probably a master of none.
Yeah.
But if you're a good in-house counsel, what you'll do is you'll have on speed dial certain attorneys for certain issues. You understand? And so, ideally that's what should be done.
Yeah, yeah, and I see what the American he said that Robert he said that you should speak the truth. The Americans, what the Americans do is better. And he's a Jamaican there, which is true. They do. The Americans have this down, and we have to give credit. But then um, it's sad that they can't pay the players, but they can easily market player jerseys so they could make money there too, right?
Yeah, and it
Well,
is.
let me say this to Foreign Spider. Let me just say this, Neil, that as far as we have seen and heard in this World Cup campaign so far, in fact, there has not been any arguments about player salary. And I think up to recent, I heard Rudolph Speed say that one thing that the players can't say is that they're not getting their salaries. And you haven't heard anything like that. So if there's one thing that we realize that is not an issue, Gold Cup into World Cup qualifiers is players' salary. They may have some issues, but we don't know. He's asking maybe you need to check out who owns the Sunshine Girls. That's interesting. That, that,
Yeah, I
that's
didn't look.
interesting. That's
Yeah, I mean,
interesting.
and I can tell people, you viewers can go and search these things for yourselves. You understand? Because as I said before, all of this is public record, and you can, go out there, Google it, take your time and read, do your research. Um, you know, yeah. I mean, it saddens me to say that this issue has not been really explored and raised before. And I think I come from it. My perspective is you have to examine the structures, because if we don't change the bylaws, if we don't change how things are governed, if we don't change those things, then all of this other stuff that we're talking about are pipe dreams. If the JFF don't start making money, right, to build more fields and build a better infrastructure, if you don't do those things, then basically, we're going. If I'm hoping that we make it to this World Cup and that we'll get that money to put back into the program. But even if we get that money, those things that I mentioned, perfecting your trademark, doing the merchandising, having a for-profit wing connected to the JFF, having better governance, having more professional-minded people in the organization,
Yeah.
stopping the conflict of interest. These things have to be done. Without them, we're not going to get anywhere. You understand that? Listen, there was a time in Jamaica when people talk about pork barrel politics and garrison politics. And perhaps that is still being done today. I don't, I can't say. I don't really want to go there. But the point is, as a country, we knew that we have to eliminate those things. We're coming from a place where it wasn't good, and we wanted our democracy to work better. And in order for that to happen, we have to pass certain laws. We have to make the police better. The governance has to be better, right? And so you're not going to have, you're not going to be better off until you change the governance in the JFF, until you change the way,
Persons are selected
certain,
to the offices
yeah,
within the gym. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I agree with you. I think the governance structure of the federation that needs to change. My name is man. This is Cranky. Welcome to the show, Stan Cranky. Asking of the JFF explain why they haven't done a better job marketing their products. No, I think what we need to find out, Cranky, is if they can market the jerseys at least, because maybe that is the conflict right now. I think until we can get word from them about the ownership of this trademark, it could be affecting their marketing
Can I
abilities
can I
in terms of the
explain
jersey
something?
itself. Go ahead.
Can I explain something about the jerseys? So here's the issue. When you're having a deal with Umbra or any of these, it might be Nike or Puma or one of our Adidas. What they do is they do research, and they put basically, they say that we're going to give you a $40 million deal because we estimate that we can sell $40 million worth of jerseys. You understand? And what they do is you, as the GFX, accept that. Now, Umbra might sell less than $40 million worth of jersey, but you're still going to get to $40 million. Umbra might also sell $50 million worth of jersey. You're still going to get to $40 million. You understand? So at the beginning of the deal, an amount is stated. The parties agree
Okay.
to it,
Okay.
and that is what you're going to get. Now you can have provisions in the agreement where you
Up to a
can
certain amount.
renegotiate. Right, you can
Yeah.
renegotiate, or if a certain amount is sold, then there is a, you can come back and say, well, we need to share, we need to revisit the amount of money we should be getting, or maybe you can put in provisions that say we will get money on the back end of the deal. But generally speaking, the amount you're going to get is stated upfront, and that's what you get, which is why it is so important
To
that you do
maximize.
other activities by merchandising other goods, headwear, footwear, clothes, belts, cups, eyeglasses, toothbrush, whatever, Halloween costumes. I mean, you know,
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting because like like it's how long does the Umbra, how long the Umbra deal will
4 years.
run?
4 years.
From when? Starting from when? From
Well, I think
20,
it finishes in 2002. No,
22,
sorry, I mean 22. So that would have made it what 4 years?
2018.
Yeah,
2018.
yes.
Okay.
So it
And
finishes, yeah,
right. Okay. So a suspect, if dependent, which is next year.
yeah.
Whoa. So unless, I
I
mean, not normally when these are going good and it's going into heading into the final year, there's normally an extension, and we haven't heard anything about that.
right.
That's the current, and there's a lack of accountability and repercussions for bad behavior. Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
People, hold on, then, Neo. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Please hit the like button, people. We're on at this time. Remember, we have one of the first Jamaicans to leave Jamaica and play in the leagues in Germany. He's going to come up and he's going to be speaking to us a little later from this, right? So thanks to all of you who are in the chat section, in the comment section, sorry. We have also pinned the link for you if you want to come on at this point and join and just share your thoughts on what we are discussing. All we ask you to do is to, when you come on, make sure your camera is up and running so we can see who you are, and it is on landscape instead of portrait, so that the view can be good for the quality of the content that we are producing. But it's open for you to join us at this time to be a part of this discussion, because I have something else that I want to reveal to you as well, Neo. You can, so let me just take a couple more comments. Um, and then I'll have some more information that some of you may have seen it, but I'm going to reveal it to you for those who have not seen, so you can hear. Right? It says we have seen on this and the other platforms that there are intelligent, competent Jamaica at home and in the diaspora with specialized knowledge, but they have not been consulted by the GFF. So that's a good question, Neil. If you were supposed, if the GFF contacted you and said, "Man, I've heard you, and I really like what you're doing. I like the information. Could you come on board and give us some help?" Would you be willing to do that, or you don't want to get involved with? Where would your thoughts
Omar,
be? Yeah.
Omar, let me tell you. I recall you saying something one time. You said that more people have to be able to do good without desiring the praise, if we're going to get this thing done. So if the JFF approach me, I would say to them, you know what, I would love, I would do anything I can to help the JFF, but guess what? I don't specialize in trademark law. I don't. So I would tell them, right, as an attorney, let me help you find attorneys
Yeah.
who specialize in this area, right? In this type of in that area of practice. I would certainly do that, right? But I'm not gonna sit here and say, yeah, man, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna do it because I have some limited experiences in this area, that area, right? I want to make sure that if I am going to recommend somebody to the GFF to do this type of work, that that person is a professional in that area, they specialize in that area, and that's the sort of selective basis which the JFF should be using when they bring people into the organization. Just on a general level, I saw some questions from Cranky and some of the other guys in there talking about accountability. So so basically, what happens is that the GFF, they have their own internal regulation. You understand? And if things are not being done, the board of directors are the ones who are supposed to call in the general meeting, ask for people to be removed, make recommendations, nominate people to different posts. But again, because what happens is that you have the part association, the people who are in the JFF have always been the JFF. And so they don't, I don't know that they like each other very much, but they're certainly not voting people out. It's like a game of musical chairs. I'm sorry, that's just my
Yeah.
observation. And so basically, the whole structure of the JFF needs to be reformed, because until you have this closed institution with the same people in it, they're not holding each other accountable. Because if I hold you accountable, when my turn comes, you're going to hold me accountable.
Yep.
So I'm not gonna, so that's what's happening. And as far as the government is concerned, FIFA says we don't want the
Government.
governments
Yeah.
to be too involved in the administration of football. And so the governments can come in limited circumstances, but certainly most of this stuff that I'm talking about is stuff that would have to be policed internally.
Yeah, and this is where I think this is where you'll hear people say you can't ask the police to investigate the police, right? It is like, how do you ask the federation to investigate itself? Yeah, so there is that issue, and I think until we get to the place, and I see some of the suggestion. One, at like I'm even cautious of it, how like people say increase the vote to 60. Does that make any difference if the 60 people are still connected to the same set of people? Or
And
is it that
Omar,
you
I
understand?
just wanna
It- Go ahead.
I wanna intervene to say something. I don't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, man.
And I'm not suggesting, I don't know, I can't say for sure, I have no proof that people are engaged in wrongdoing. But what I can say is that it really smells of incompetence or lack of knowledge or lack of exposure. I don't know what it is exactly. So I don't, I wanna put that out there, that I'm not saying, I'm not accusing anybody of any specific wrongdoing. But I'm just saying to you,
Yeah.
that because of the way the thing is structured. So as far as increasing the votes go, you know what? You're perfectly right. I mean, I again, I'm going to go back to the example of the USA Football Federation. They don't have, it's not structured in the same way. It's not like every state can vote.
Yeah.
They have a completely different structure where a lot of different organizations who are involved in football are members.
There you go.
Whereas in our situation, we have the parish associations, and they're the ones who make up the vast majority of the members. The GFF, their bylaws allow them to invite other affiliates to become members of the organization. But the
Listen,
GFF don't really invite other people to become affiliates.
let me tell you what I believe needs to happen. We need to see like the Chamber of Commerce, the Small Business Association,
There you go.
like until we can expand the voting pools to other sectors of communities, some outside of like football, like the small business, the Jamaica Manufacturers Association. Like maybe some of these people need to have votes in the process, because
Absolutely.
you understand me. So yeah, you have your football stakeholders, but you have the business interests. You have probably somebody from the universities. Like you understand me, or the universities who are involved in sport, like a University of Technology, University of the West Indies, Michael, GC Foster. Some of these places have like voting rights. Like if you have registered academy, they have a vote.
Yep.
You understand what I
And that's
mean?
what happens in the US.
Right. So all of these, I think, until it goes here, because if you just say, okay, let's give the Premier League teams a vote. What does it really make a difference? I don't think it makes any major difference if that is what you're going to do, because it is going to be the same footballing people. You
And
understand?
and no disrespect to them, knowledge of how to play football and how to run a club
Two different
does
things.
not necessarily make you the best person to run the football federation, because what the federation does is not the same thing as what a club does. The federation has much different other different duties that it has to do, and so I would advocate that they need that reform. And
Yeah.
I'm going to go out there and say that if we do make it to the World Cup, and I'm hoping that we do, but we don't have these reforms, we're going to be back here in another 4 years crying at the JFF and asking why they don't change.
Yeah. All right. All right. So we have a few more comments. We see do you know the process of removing members? I think that should be members of the GFF, for example. Do members have a lifetime appointment? I think the
So
answer is
pagan, so pagan. I mean, that like I said, it would be up to the other people in the GFF who are members of the board. It would be up to them, right, to vote people out. In their articles of incorporation, people can be removed if they go crazy, if they got caught stealing, right? But generally speaking, absent those issues, it's really up to the members um, to remove other members who are not working. There's gonna be a vote. You understand? And so, as long as it's a closed entity, where one of the things is that, and I remember, if you guys recall, I did a show previously where you can remove somebody, but the board of
problem.
directors, or the president, they can actually freeze out a parish association if the parish association does something that they don't like. You understand? There are provisions in there which basically say that they can suspend their membership, they can't come to the meeting, and they won't have a voice any longer. And
Yeah.
so people said, well, maybe that was because Captain Burrell wanted it that way, because he was a strong man, and everything really centered around his personality. And so after Captain Burrell left, they kind of made some changes where they were not going to allow that anymore. And the pirate associations kind of changed some things up to increase their power. But, you know, what they needed is some more fundamental reform. And unfortunately, because it's a corporation and they have their own internal rules, absent some crime or madness or bankruptcy, there's
They,
really no
they
way
govern
to
them.
remove
They
them.
govern themselves.
They govern
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
hi.
right.
Good
Yeah.
evening,
Good
gentlemen.
afternoon, Siobhan. Come on. Yeah, man.
Hey, Shaban.
Yeah. I wanted to address something pertaining to the kit deal that the JFF had. I'm not sure if you're aware. The last, or wait, Manningsman. We all know that whenever a new kit is launched for a particular team, whatever team runs under that particular organization or that federation, everybody wears that particular kit, right? I don't
Right.
know if you realize the games that the Reggae Girls played recently. They had on the old kit, and it came to I was having to the thinking that is what type of agreement does the JFF have with Umbra itself to say that is it a situation where we are really benefiting from the contractual obligations of that kit itself? Because why is it that the youth team is using the older kits,
Right. It's just a
where
senior team that has been playing
the
in the
senior
Umbra
men,
jersey.
senior
Yeah.
men.
Yeah.
So why is it that it's two different kits that they're using? Is it that the deals are not beneficial? And it goes to one of the age-old questions a person always have: why is it that our players can't have the jersey, their names on their jersey? So to me,
Did the female team have their names on the jersey? Seeing that was an older kid.
no, it was only no man.
They
It's
didn't.
they didn't.
Oh. I
So
didn't,
I
I didn't even
wonder.
notice that. That's a very interesting observation. Like,
Yeah, cause
why have you ever
I
deal with Umbra, Neo? Because the American soccer team, male and female, wear the same kit.
the
All of the teams that I
Well,
go
juniors,
to,
the
juniors
even the
everywhere.
well.
junior, every,
So listen, as I said before, I don't have access to the Umbro deal that they signed. I can't tell you. I've never read it. But what I would say is that it is it is likely that they have a separate deal with Umbro for the men's team than they have with the women's team.
Right, but what he's saying though is that it is not the Umbra, it's not Umbra kit the girls wore. It
no,
is
it was
other.
Umbro. It
It
was
was
Umbro.
it was Umbra.
But it was the last. Remember, I know the kits that the
Oh
Reggae
right,
Boys
they
have now. You
changed the
know,
kit. Okay, I see what you mean.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what I was just saying is that whenever you have clubs or national teams across the world, whenever the kits change for the senior teams, it
Mhm,
changes for everyone. I know persons might say it's not a big deal, but you have to
mhm.
look into it to say that there is something. This why is it that all across the world the standard is this, but in Jamaica it is that? Is it that the match
Well,
itself wasn't officially an official game? That Umbra never said, "Hey, it's not an official game, so I'm not
Right.
going to produce."
Well, maybe the federation because it wasn't it was more of
that's
a
up to the federation.
fundraiser. Right. I think it's more of a fundraiser than um yeah, right. So it is not kit, it is a jersey you're speaking to. Let me just I think
Mhm.
Pagan was saying that, right? Because kit equal uniform gear, right? So you want right. But I think it could it be because it wasn't a friendly international. It was just a it wasn't a official friendly. It was more of a fundraiser. I don't know if it was an official. Maybe they have a tournament gear different from friendly match gear.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
but don't you
I
think?
think we could be speculating. I think
Yeah.
we could be speculating, but I think at that stage, Siobhan, that it would be up to that would be a decision that the GFF makes, not Umbro. You
No,
understand?
I know. My question is just that it's based off what you were saying pertaining to the whole marketing thing.
Right.
Because if you're going to be marketing a kit right now, all right, so like say a female fan in the US saw the Reggae Girls playing in that particular kit. That kit is not being sold anymore. It's only the newer kits being
Oh, I
sold.
see what you mean.
So
Yeah.
Right.
that person, that female now might look at it and say, "Hey, this is not the jersey that the girls wore last week. So why is this one being sold? So I'm not going to buy this one then."
Right.
And then
Or,
that could be
or could it be that they were going to give it away and they
that.
wanted to give away that one and
I
not the
doubt.
new?
I doubt it.
But
I
that's a very good point to raise. Let me just take listen, we have a lot of comments coming in. Please keep them coming. It's not that we don't want to respond to them because but we don't have a moderator outside of me who was able to deal with the comments, right? But let me just Donovan Donor. I did send you the link. I don't know why I sent you the link. No man, but I mean once the show is on, you can jump on. I'll try to get it to you so you can always see it. All right. Blue Mountain, if you have a point, you can call, man. Just call and we'll take a call. We'll put up the number earlier, because we like I said, we have a next interview that we're going to do with a Jamaican, one of the first Jamaicans who left Jamaica, playing in the leagues here, dominated schoolboy football, represented the national team, and went to Germany and played. We're going to be talking to him um, a little bit later from this. But I want to read something and then we'll get back to this discussion. And we have Jay Taylor who is going to join us now. Um, now this is some information that was sent to me from a meeting. Some of you would have read it, right? It says Professional Football Jamaica Limited PFJL. They had a meeting yesterday. It says the chairman, the finance committee chairman, and the commercialization committee chairman. It says, and this is the information that I got. It says these three have run the organization in debt to over 36 million and counting, probably closer to 50 million. Says the chairman has said that there cannot be any prize money because there was no profit. In fact, there was loss. This is for the JPL that just completed. It
Which
says
makes sense.
so far the first time in history. Premier League football has no prize money. He also told the clubs that they owe the debt incurred by his team. In fact, 29 million and counting is owed to um, Proven, which is the um, uh, which is the CEO, another clear conflict of interest. What it is suggesting is that the chairman is a part of Proven, and the JPL owes Proven uh, 29 million and counting. And so they are suggesting, this is coming out of the meeting, I got this, suggesting that there's a conflict of interest. The directors don't know what interest rate or arrangements are in place, meaning the club owners don't know, all right, what interest rates are going to be in place for the money that you're saying that we owe. All right, seeing that we owe this money. All right. Um, it lists a name. I'm very cautious of calling names, people, so just work with me. It lists a name and it says um, um, the 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 finance committee chairman, who is responsible for authorizing and ensuring proper good governance, respending, and etc., has allowed overspending to take place and not manage the affairs of the company in a proper manner, claiming that person spent and it just have to pay, and it just have to pay. So basically, they're saying that the chairman, who is a club owner, said, listen, money just have to be spent. Money was spent, and you need to pay back the money. All right. All right. So I hope you're following me, people. This is the information that I got, and I'm reading as it is. All right. So allowed overspending has allowed overspending to take place and not manage the affairs of the company in a proper manner, claiming that person spent and he just have to pay. There is also talks of $1 million contracts being given out. Um, the let me get the finance the commercialization committee chairman convened did not attend the meeting, and they were also trying to blame the general manager, but the clubs rejected that the general manager should be blamed. So for the first time in the Premier League history, they said that there is no prize money, right? The clubs are indebted to the chairman's company to $29 million plus interest adding daily. The clubs are indebted to creditors of an unknown amount. Sponsorship announcement by the chairman was inaccurate, as it seemed that each club had a 10 million sponsor each. And that was, they're saying that that is pure PR, public relations, because the clubs were never given $10 million. All right. All of this loss and indebtedness coming after revenues of $123 million. All right. So now, this is the information that I got. I'm going to, I did try to make contact with one of the three persons, and who, some of the persons whose name were mentioned, and so I'm hoping to have one of them on tomorrow to explain this. All right. Now, I know it's probably hard. The information probably going to be in the newspapers tomorrow, so you can probably read it, Neo, and you can give me a call and tell me what you think. Now, what I think is happening is there are a couple of things in my
The
in my
dark
head.
night is here. Look on
No,
Neo. Look
no.
on Neo. You have to pull over the hoodie.
No. All right. So let me tell you what is happening. I believe that Mr. Williams, Christopher Williams, is very good for football. Very good coming in terms of what is happening. And what I don't want to happen is that people have personal vendettas against the federation, and a good man's reputation is dragged through that to the detriment of football. You follow me? Because sometimes we are so bitter and hurt that we could possibly cause problems. But I know that some of the clubs have not been given monies that were promised to them. They were supposed to get it in September, but they have not gotten it. And the prize money has not been given out, and so there is some monies owing. All right, it's only fair, people. I brought this up because I think it is important that we hear everything before we come to a conclusion. And I know this is going to be out there. I think we need to hear from them, because what you don't want to happen is, based on how Mr. Christopher Williams in particular has projected himself, is that because the JFF and the whole football system has been so corrupt, that now he is being aligned to corruption and force a good person out of the football. You understand what I'm saying? Because you can't have that. Somebody could see you, Neo, offering help to the JFF, and here's what happened. Because they are used to the quote unquote nonsense in the JFF, they begin to label you as one of the idiots. You understand me? Which
Yeah,
now
man.
pushes you to not want to be involved and leave the thing at the state
Guilt,
that it is.
guilt by association.
Guilt by
Management.
association. But go ahead,
Management.
Siobhan, and then I'll invite Jay Taylor to come on and share his thought.
Yeah, I think this is something that has been in discussion for a while now, because I remember we were speaking about it on Formula and on Coaches Desk one at the time. Under this current structure of our Premier League, there's never going to be any. I don't think there will ever be any growth, because one, there's no league in the world that can survive without the sale of merchandise. There cannot be no form of profit without merchandise, none whatsoever. And in this previous JPL season, as much as the jerseys, they weren't really, to say, a branded jersey, because I come like I just some t-shirt them get, there was nothing being sold for the respective clubs.
All right, but Siobhan, here's the thing: teams in the world don't make money because of jersey sales. That I
No
have to
man,
correct you.
no man. Of course they make sales. Of
Siobhan,
course they make sales. Of
Siobhan,
course.
Siobhan. All right, let me say it this way: the major teams in the world, their biggest source of income is not jersey sales.
No, I never said it's the biggest.
So watch this. So our push cannot be jersey sales.
No, I am not
In
saying it's the
No man, I hear
biggest.
what you're saying. What I'm saying, do you know that if the league, it cannot be based on getting the jerseys merchandise. It has to be TV deal. No matter how much jersey you sell, if you don't have a proper TV deal, your league is going to suffer.
No, I am just pointing out the
Yeah.
different issues with the league as to why I believe the league will
Okay.
always fail. I am not saying that is the only reasoning.
Okay. All right, but with the jerseys though, they did explain that what happened. They have a sponsor, and so they had the jerseys, but because there was some gambling thing on the jerseys, there was a conflict with the TV and the stuff. So they are making adjustments, but the jerseys were actually given. And that is part of the reason why some of that money from that particular, I think $80 million from that sponsor was not given. So there's a $80 million that this particular, I think it's a Colombian owned company, forgot the name, was supposed to pump into the whole thing with jerseys and all of that. For some reason, what was on the jerseys went against some stuff. I think it's TV deal and stuff like that, because of some gambling issues and all of that. And the league doesn't allow gambling. And so because of that, the jerseys could not have been used. And so they are making adjustment to that. And some of that money was not given into the league. So that is part of the issue. But Jay Taylor, what say you? Good afternoon. Welcome.
Yeah, man. Big up everybody on the
You
panel.
can speak a little louder.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, man, we're hearing you now.
Yeah. So even I had to just listen to most of what was said. I'm sure. What is it? Omar has more knowledge about stuff like this, but it's interesting because it's a lot of it. The similarities that's in music as well, as far as branding and name and all that stuff. So it was great listening to that. Even I'm sure you're aware that at Ajax they had to remove the three-letter bird from their kit, right?
Oh, they
Because
had to?
Yeah,
yes, because
In European
yeah,
competitions.
yeah, because with the UEFA equipment regulations, so they had to remove that. So all over the world, the copywriting and trademark
Trademark.
and patents stuff like this, it's always been a thing, but it's not for everybody. It's that's why they hire people to get these stuff, these kind of things done for you, because it can be
That's
quite
right, JT. Mhm.
complicated with all the different ins and outs. But yeah, this is where they are. And I don't know how urgent this is based on
Yeah,
where we
sorry,
are.
that mean you'd have to hire a lawyer that understand
Yeah,
international
yeah, yeah. You have
laws.
to, bro.
So, well, let me
Treaties and all that stuff.
Go
so
ahead, Nick.
JT, let me just cut you in for a little bit. Yeah, there are firms that specialize in this area, companies actually that you can hire to do these things for you. Like I know with music, there are really big companies that will protect
Yeah,
your copyrights.
your
You know,
copyrights.
you register with them, and you know they either, I'm not quite sure what the deals are, but there are companies out there who you can hire to do this stuff for you. That's all they do, and so those companies exist, and you have to. You see, the thing about it is that a lot of
Those are
people go cheap.
publishing companies. That's what they do.
Right, they,
Handle all
that's
your
right, JT.
publishing, your copyright,
Yeah,
your
and people want to
placement.
go cheap.
Yeah,
People want to go cheap. They don't want to pay the money for these things, but actually cutting off your nose to spite your face. Because the truth is, if you do it correctly, you'll make a whole lot more money exploiting your intellectual property than you do paying people to protect it and make sure that
Okay.
it's not being. Yeah,
yeah. I think on the next go around they have a chance to get a lot of things right. Because we have to understand, these platforms weren't really around putting on pressure on the JFF years ago, where stuff like this, we just had to hear it on the news or on the sports, and we just had to let it go. Now people are definitely looking for this information, and they see what's happening. So whoever is in charge, I'm hoping that they will be in touch with someone in the diaspora like Omar, who has the ideas about this kind of stuff, to where they can become a more functioning body, where they have to figure out to patch all the different gaps that they've been
Yeah.
like missing in this
Yeah, but
campaign.
I saw, for example, there are other persons. I saw a foreign spider. I think the name is saying that he wanted to help them with their website free at no cost to them, and that was not accepted. Claudine said, I mean, she's the next person who should have wished that she had gotten the Reggae Boys as a project because she did marketing. She was a part of Bizard at UTech and she wanted to do that. So the truth is that they are well thinking Jamaican who understand the business. I told people that when the Crankies originally were buying Arsenal, one of the things I loved about them, and they said it to the people initially, and many Arsenal fans never got it until they saw how they started operating. They said that they are not in the sports business, and they said that they are in the business of sport. And the whole idea behind that is that the business part is more important to them than the sport part. So they use the business module to operate the sporting module. They don't use the sporting module to do business. They use business to do sport, right? I think that is what needs to happen with our football. We need to get the best business mind who have knowledge of sport and can use business to make sport more lucrative. All right. I know Neil look like you have to it's time
That
for your
makes
trick or
sense.
treat.
time for my trick or treats. But
Yeah, man.
guys, it was a pleasure being with you, and I leave you in the capable hands of JT and Kevin.
Shavat.
Right?
Shavat. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I will do while I'm trick or treating, I'll be listening to the show. But I'm going to go before I get my son come out here and
Yeah,
rush me. All
man.
right,
Yeah, man.
guys.
I
All
can't
right.
even
So
tell you to
respect.
enjoy the rest of Halloween because you don't know in Jamaica we don't believe in no. Yeah.
You want to say hi?
Ah.
All right.
All right, yeah,
All
man.
right,
Blessings
guys.
and thanks again,
Cool.
Neo.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
yeah, man. That's Omar Rogers Woolmerian. They call him Neo Sovereign,
Okay,
right? But want
okay.
to want to thank him for coming on. Listen, also let me just chip in right here. Remember, this video is sponsored by Trick Nick. Trick Nick is a Jamaican-owned company that operates in Canada, and they sell everything you need for jerk sauce, jerk spice, jerk barbecue, hot pepper sauce, curry paste, right? and they use Jamaican herbs and spices to make all their products. They're offering 25% discount on all their products, right? And all you have to do is to visit www.tricknick.ca to make your purchase. They have wonderful worldwide shipping. Here is what you use. Use the code I am sure sports 001. In fact, tomorrow, when our show begins at 11 a.m., the first person from Canada that jumps on the show and say, I am from Canada, Tricknick and I am sure sports is coming together to send you a full package of all Tricknick's product. There we go. Later, when we're interviewing that Jamaican who is the big baller, here's what we're going to do as well. We are going to give away $500 credit to someone in Jamaica. All right, we have a call coming in, so let's hear what this caller has to say. Hello, caller. Good afternoon. Blue, what? BMEG, what's going on? Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, man.
And you're listening and, I don't have much knowledge on what's going on in terms of, the JPL and marketing and all that stuff. So I'm listening and I'm learning.
Yes.
As far as what we talked about, man, just tell me how much you did it, man, and I got it, man.
All right, but you want to send the question that you want me to want them to answer?
No, I don't really have no question. I don't really have no question.
I know what I'm going to ask them. You know what I'm going to ask them?
Most of what's going on is things that I already know, and I accept it. The problem, the thing is now, where do we go now from here? How we go about
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
All right, no, man, what I was talking about is I want to ask them a question before we give them the ticket for the game.
That's up to you. That's up to you, man.
So,
I let me know the price of the ticket. I purchased the ticket. I said I give you the information to get the money to purchase the ticket, and you come up with a question.
All right, so here's the question. I'm going to ask them a question about the great Bumpy.
Oh, you can ask them about him too.
Tell me if you agree with that, because what I'll do is on the show next week, one of the days when you're on, I'll ask a question about Bumpy, and the person who gets it right, we get them the ticket. But they have to be vaccinated, because if they're not vaccinated, they can't go to the game. How that sound? Fully vaccinated. No, we're supposed to hear that tomorrow. Oh, okay, all right, not a problem. So we're gonna check it out. All right.
Yeah, man, check it out.
And please remember, you need to tell Bumpy to link. We need to connect. You need to text me so he and I can.
No, man, I'm gonna text you the number. I just keep to get down here. I'm work nights, so sometimes I bring the function.
All right, all right.
Sometimes I'm not really thinking. Sometimes I forgot to say.
Yeah, man.
So here's my question. I have a question to ask. So I remember years ago a certain man had got involved with the Premier League Association, and we had worked out something for all the players and insurance and stuff, so if they get hurt, they could go to the doctor. Is that still in place?
Yeah, man. It is insured, so all the clubs have to have that, and all the players have to do full medicals before they start at the league and drug testing and stuff. They have all of that in place. And all the players have to sign contracts where they are getting their salaries as well.
Okay.
Everyone.
I know a little bit about that the whole thing, and how they was playing and never had no insurance and all this stuff,
Yeah, they resolved that for last season.
Yeah, and say that again?
For last season, all the players, like a player could not play who is a professional without a contract. They had to do medicals before the start of the season, and I think they did drug testing as well. I don't know to what extent, but I know that those are part of the protocols for the clubs to be in the league. In fact, I don't know if you remember when the gentleman from Wadada, Mr. Ricketts, was speaking. Some of the things to meet up to the gradient that they talk about include like professional contracts of players which includes some of the things that you're mentioning, insurance and having bank account and all of those things.
All right. So before we go, you know what we need to do? You know what we need to do? We need to figure out a way to see if we can get some of those big investors in other countries to buy some of them Jamaica Premier League teams. That's the only thing can save us right now, you know.
Boy, I'm telling you.
Because people are just not putting their money in.
Manning's man. Manning's man.
Yeah, Chevon.
Right now.
Yeah, based off what him say, I think we have local companies out here that can do
Hold on,
it.
hold on, Blue Mountain. Hold on, Chevon. Blue Mountain. Yeah, man, BMG, MEG. Chevon want to respond, right? But you know, we don't have the thing set up yet where you can actually hear what he's saying.
All right. We can't hear, so never cut off.
Right, and then listen. And yeah, man. Yeah, man. All right. Bless up and thanks again for calling in.
All right. Mess up, man.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead, Chevon.
All right. So my belief is that I think we do have the companies out here to actually aid in that particular scenario.
Yeah.
But I just think the way the league is actually set up, it contradicts all of that because all right, what the JPL did this year, it was commendable, where each team had their own sponsorship instead of having like this one sponsor sponsoring 12 teams. I think that was ridiculous in the first place. So what they did now, I think it was commendable. But what I think is that whatever money, like I said, the interest for the JPL now, it is not there. And you made a good point pertaining to TV deals. But how many persons really and truly know the times of the games? How many persons know the actual players that play for your team outside of the persons that live in those particular communities? So the interest in that is not going to really be there as much. So I was listening to Coach's Deck's this interview that Coach Deck last night because I was at work. So all of that came into play. Nobody really knows the players. Nobody knows the clubs itself. Only the persons within the clubs. That's why my thinking was my opinion is that I think we need to restructure and change out this entire professional football system by having like 6 teams within each parish, and they are the only teams as a professional level, and the rest of them can just be for development. But as you know, for every idea there's always pushbacks and drawbacks as well. There's always the pros and the cons. But I just don't think with this particular model that we have for the league, it will be any success because persons that live in St.
Yeah, but the truth is, Chevon, I don't know if you know this, we don't have 10 professional clubs in Jamaica, you know.
I know that.
Right, so to even say that we need 6 professional clubs, you don't need so much, you just need probably 14. And I think that is what they're trying to do with the tier 1 and tier 2, which is one of the reasons that they will tell you why Wadada never meet the gradient. That is one of the reasons why they're telling you, because they're trying to professionalize this thing. They have a certain amount of gradient points you're supposed to meet. They didn't meet it. But let me say this, right? Let me just give you some JPL news, because Fresh God and I and many others who follow the league, we're supposed to do a show. So I'm going to give you some news that you can take to the bank, right? So I did speak about the fact that Rudolph Austin and Lenny Hyde are at like Portmore United. You know, Paul Teagat Davis is at Arnett Gardens, which means Alex Thomas is not there. Cavalier have a new goalkeeper who is a St. Lucian national keeper. You know that Dumby Holden, they have now Zelano Barnes in their ranks. They have Cardell Benbow in their ranks. They have DeAndre Thomas. They call him, you know, he was at Portmore. He was there, then he went to Portmore. He's in their ranks. Keith Simpson is back in their ranks. Andre McFarlane is in their ranks. So as information comes up about what is happening in the market, we will do it, because we the people also have to support the football. The truth is, I watch a lot of EPL, but I also watch a lot of the local football. Just because I want to be kept abreast as to what is happening with local football. We want to do a show as well on the schoolboy football to look at the top talents in there, so we now can get familiar with some of the players before they get to the senior level.
All right, Mannings, man. But that basically just go with what I just said a while ago again. Most of those players are being moved around, and none of those is being publicized.
Yeah, I just did.
No, but you know what I mean, Mannings, man.
Yeah, no, man, I know what you mean, but I'm saying that it is true, but part of the whole issue is that we don't have, like I said, that we don't have a TV deal where people can have like a transfer show on it, like what we'd see
No, we
happening in the
do.
EPL.
I think we
There's
do
no, there's
with
eh?
Sportsmax, but I just that Sportsmax don't see the deal. I don't
No,
think
there. Listen, all right. So let me say it this way. I like remember what they said. The rights to the thing is not owned by Sportsmax,
it's owned by Digicel.
No, it's owned by the JPL.
And the JPL, yeah, the JPL sell the rights to
No,
Sportsmax or Digicel.
no, right. So no, they have a right to show it, but they don't own it. So the content owners are really the JPL.
So the JPL owns
So
their own broadcast rights.
right, because you know what that means is that they didn't get a good enough deal to sell the rights. That's
Yeah.
what that really means.
All right, management. You don't think it would be more beneficial if you had a team in each start off with each? You have a team, one or two teams from each parish.
You have to ask us. All right, you mean if you where the league is one like a 14 team league, one from each parish?
No man, two team from me. Me think the 14 league team was, but it's not good enough. But
No,
again, because
like
of our
I
economy,
don't I don't think we can facilitate two teams from each parish in any league.
no, that's what I'm saying. Based off our economy, we probably can't. But I'm just
Right.
saying, if you go, let's say if you go 10 years without a team from, let's say, a Portland in the league, right? Where is there interest from somebody from Portland or
Yeah, but
in the
all
league?
right, but there are two things to that. Do I just take up somebody? All right, so I take a team from Hanover and put them in the league. They get relegated. All right, just put up a next team. If the parishes
No,
themselves.
no.
Go
What I
ahead.
am, my point is that I am not saying that it should be the whole case, because the whole league structure now. Let me say I am against the whole league structure because we have too many teams from one particular parish in the league, so most of the funds is being attributed to one
But who's
parish.
all right? Remember, all right, Siobhan. Like we have to look at the thing in context because we're not right. Watch this. So there was a time when you had Fogo, Violet Kickers, Wadada, Seba from Montego Bay. That's four teams. You had Hazard, Clarendon, 6 teams. You had Reno, 7 teams. You have Horses, 8 teams. So I am saying is that some of those parishes and their parish association need to be held accountable. And you can't
Yeah,
just, what I'm saying is that to say Westmoreland needs a team, Westmoreland need to put Reno, there should not be, based on the success of Reno, Westmoreland has not had many teams from Westmoreland, probably like 4 teams in total in the Premier League. Reno has been the most successful. At some point, the president of the Westmoreland Football Association and the other stakeholders out there must take responsibility for them not having a team in the Premier League. You cannot say, listen, Kingston and St. Andrew have too much, so let's take away some from them and give some
no,
to.
I am not saying that in a manner. I don't want you to get me wrong.
All right, so what are you saying?
I am not saying to take a team from anywhere and put in it.
Yeah,
But all my thing is that if you have a
yeah.
parish that is not getting the resources to develop its players, right? They won't have the necessary facilities and the infrastructure to develop their players. So if you have a team in the Premier League for say 10 years, they are going to be getting the Premier League money, which is a lot. So the development for our next team within a particular parish may actually be on the list. So they can't really develop. So those players, and then nobody's going to get up from Kingston and go to a country just to play for a club.
What are you talking, Siobhan? I mean, obviously, you just start watch Premier League, man.
No, I'm not just watch Premier League.
I'm telling you, if you
Just
say that
though,
no, what I'm saying to you, if you are going to say nobody from Kingston, let me tell you this. So go back. Anybody from Clarendon can tell you this. The most successful teams in Clarendon at schoolboy level and Premier League level had Kingston players.
no, I don't think you're really getting the full picture as to what I was
All right,
saying.
no man. Okay. Here's what you're saying because
Remember, probably I used the wrong words. I'm not using the wrong context.
yeah,
All I am trying to say is that the current model of the league, I don't see it being beneficial because
we agree with that though, Chevron. I agree with you that it needs to change, but the change cannot be every parish must have a team. If there's no professional team in the parish, that's what I'm saying.
No, so my thing is, is having like a franchise system. But
Okay.
but the franchise system, persons are bashing that. I know about the
No,
rule
no.
about
All right. So
relegation.
remember the problem with franchise system though is that even that there are certain, say you have a franchise in every parish. There are still people who will say no. If I'm going to buy a franchise, I want to buy it in Kingston and St. Andrew. What if somebody says I'm not investing my money in no football in Hanover? What do you do?
I mean, you're the one that has to show the interest.
No, man. So Hanover is interested in a franchise, but a franchise owner says, I don't want to buy the Hanover franchise. If I don't get sent and I don't want any. I'm saying you could have that, and you could have end up people buying 2 franchises in St. Anne.
All right. So and it couldn't be a situation like this where each person you remember, you have to sell your product. You could use Hanover to say, hey, this is the tourist capital of the world, of Jamaica itself. Tourists come here, so you're going to get tourist attraction.
No,
Each
man.
parish would have to sell its particular brand to its investors.
Yeah, man, I agree with that. I am saying that it's a possibility that people can buy franchises in all. The thing with franchise football is that franchise football is no relegation.
No, that's why I'm saying. I agreed to that, and I said I understand that method. Hence the reason why I said no, pertaining to art. How many clubs do you have in Kingston and St. Andrew, for example?
All right, so Chevron, we can't have the discussion over. Are you talking about professional clubs?
Professional club, because I saw where I think it
No,
was
you
Fresh
only
God was
have
saying
in the total Jamaica, you only have 10 in the entire in the 14 parishes of Jamaica. According to CONCACAF rules, there are less than 10 professional clubs in Jamaica.
no. So what
That's
I am
no,
saying,
no, 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 man. That's a fact. They're under
no,
10.
I am not saying that's a
Oh,
lie.
no, man, not
I am not saying it's a lie.
Go
What
ahead,
I
Chevron.
am saying is that Fresh God was saying that you will never have a thing where all clubs in Jamaica will be professional, which I get that you can't have all clubs in Jamaica being professional. But why not have only professional clubs being played in the particular leagues? And you ensure that you put in the measure. Because remember, you have to push in the measures because it seems as if Jamaicans can't work without somebody over them with a stick. It seems as if Jamaicans can't operate in that particular way. So that you have to put in the rule, you have to put in the measures. It goes back to what Neo was saying pertaining to the deal that the US Soccer Federation has. The marketing is controlled by a company that they have. You cannot have a league without the marketing. So
All
while
right,
I get
no,
what
man.
you're saying
Yeah.
pertaining to like TV deals and all of that, our football is not being marketed in
No,
so
but
many.
Chevron, what I can't do, we have to have, like, we're having several discussions. That is the challenge I'm having. We're having a marketing discussion, a franchising discussion. So let
All of
us,
them form into one.
no, all right. So let's go, you have to, all right. So watch me now. The format of the league, we agree it needs to be changed. Could it be a franchise situation? Of course it could be. I am saying though, understand that franchise football,
There's no relegation.
there is no place that franchise football operates right now where you see football is developing, except for the United States, that you could say the MLS, which is franchise based, has helped. In Europe, they don't use a franchise, model. So we don't necessarily need a franchise model for football to develop. It's one way.
No, I was saying, and I agree to that the franchise system wouldn't work out here. But what
Okay.
my thing was that you have too many clubs being out here, which basically stagnates the development of other outputs. So when you have, let's say you get 100 mil to spread to share between 100 clubs, just imagine if you only had 50 clubs. That 100 mil would actually be spread more.
All right, so watch me now. I believe if you have one team that's professional in Kingston, say that let's use Tivoli Gardens. Let's use Boystone and Tivoli, the 2 teams that are in the Premier League. All right? That don't mean the person who lives in Greenwich Farm can't have a football team. They can have an amateur football team. Because the truth, so that's, so, all right, so just hear me out. We cannot say we have too many clubs, when some of those clubs are not getting the money. If those clubs was eating into the pie, then you could talk that. What I'm saying is to say, okay, we only want 4 clubs in Kingston. That could also socially destroy communities because football in communities has a social impact. And what you can say to the clubs is this: at the professional level, only this amount of team can matriculate into the professional level and into a league from this parish. But people should have the liberty to start a football club in their community if they
Yeah,
want. But they
that's what I
can't be.
mean. That's
Okay.
what I mean. You have a set amount of professional clubs. So you know that those other clubs, they will have to find funding to actually help in their whatever they're doing. But when you
Okay.
have
Okay.
when you have profession, I remember, the CONCACAF only lists only 10 professional clubs, right? But whatever money CASAFA or whatever may get, it has to still go to those persons. So a development, because if you look, I don't know if persons really notice, because I just don't look at football as the football. I look at football as the business side. Because from I was in high school, I always look at football at a business level. We're not making money off football because we have footballers running the business. We
Uh,
need businessmen to run
What?
business.
What? No, man, Siobhan. Like, let me tell you something. Mount Pleasant is not run by footballers. Arville Powell is not a foot. I can't give you names, man. Come on, man. Come on,
No,
Siobhan.
but all right. Who is in charge
Siobhan.
of the
No,
GFF?
here's the thing, Siobhan. Every time I say something, you say no, but you just said it. You said that we cannot have the football be run by footballers. So let me give you the clubs and who run the clubs, and then you tell me which one of them is a footballer. Harborview is run by competent sole players, Carvel Stewart and these guys. All right. You have Mobile United, Arville Powell. Tell me about his football exploit. You have Mount Pleasant, Peter Gould, and the entire board of people who are not past footballers or even any big time footballers. All right.
Talking,
Portmore Unite. Yeah.
not talking about persons who actually play football. Just talking persons who have the business acumen, who have run
But these
successful businesses.
but let me give you now. So you know that Carver Stewart is the president of the Master Builders Association. Like some of these people that I'm saying, Arville Powell is a successful businessman. Rudolph Speed is a chartered accountant. Bim Williams, when he was running Reno, even now his company is still operating. Like,
I think we're probably kind of mixing up what I'm trying to say. I get what you're saying. No, these
yeah,
persons, they are good businessmen. Why-
successful businessmen.
But why is our league struggling?
The league is struggling because Jamaica is a third world country and we don't have the money to do it yet. And that's why I say I agree with you that the structure of the league needs to change.
All
That
right.
we agree with. But hold on, let me get in. Hold on, Siobhan.
Yeah.
Chris, the sports guy. This is the man who was at the JPL game doing all the commentary and sports max. So talk to them and tell us all about it.
Yeah, man. I think that this season was the most marketable season we've had in a while, to be honest. I think that the man in charge of the PFGL did a fairly good job in getting different sponsors for each team, and this is something that I've been lobbying for a while, ever since before I went on to do some commentator work and some analysis work for KLS, where I know that management calls a lot of time. Um, when I was a caller and all of that, before I became an analyst. So I know where that aspect is concerned. I know where both men are coming from. My problem is that we are not making it as if this is the top league in our country. That is our problem. Like, the marketing for our league has been poor. And we talk about the different investors, and we don't have the money. Man, a lot of these companies here in Jamaica are multi-million dollar companies in first world countries too. We can plug foreign investors or investors that is within these different companies and have them invest in the teams. This is the first time, man, that we have different companies sponsoring different teams.
Teams.
Normally, when you look at it, it's Red Stripe alone, and that is it. in the different teams. In Cavalier, you have Kingston 62. In Mount Pleasant, in a team you have Real Tech. In another team you have True Shake. In another team you have this. In another team you have that. That's the first time we've had it where different companies are sponsoring different teams. Now, when you look in a store, you see Man City jersey, Man United jersey, Liverpool jersey, Arsenal jersey. Where's a Arnett Gardens jersey? Where's a Harborview jersey? Where's a Tivoli Gardens jersey? Where's Mount Pleasant is the only team that actually are selling jerseys. And yes, they're selling it from Draxal, but they're selling it. They're running their club like a business. There's nobody else before this separate sponsorship that was running their club like how Mount Pleasant was running their club. Which is why Mount Pleasant, as much as Peter Gould would as much as Mr. Gould would have plug people from different countries all across the world, he was still getting money, because best believe people from all over, people from even outside of Jamaica, best believe them buying a Mount Pleasant jersey, And this man could have afforded to do a lot of things because of how he was marketing his team. You think it was just one day a bunch of players? Remember, Mannings man, when Mount Pleasant made that step from the Super League to the Premier League, a flux of players from Premier League teams went. Bushy Beckford gone, Ladale Richie gone, Cardell Bembo left. A lot of players left from their respective clubs to go to Mount Pleasant because they were marketing their team as how a team should be marketed, which is what a lot of these teams are not doing. You have a lot of places that have a lot of leagues, but the way how they market them thing is much better than how we are doing it. It has nothing to do with their status as a country, nothing. I don't believe it has anything to do with third world country status. But how are you marketing your team as how people want to come in and play? The closest team to Mount Pleasant in marketing is Portmore United. The closest. Nobody else can market their team that other players can come. None. And I just think that marketing was not good before, but I like the fact that different investors or different companies come to different teams. And Mannings, man, it was a very good season. Very good season.
Well, I don't know if you heard, some of the things that I said earlier. But some of those things were about monies owing and all of that. I don't know if in terms of the league, and some teams have not been paid. So we'll see. But listen, I agree that the league needs to be marketed. I think Harborview, you could get Harborview jerseys to purchase though. Arnett Gardens, when they were successful, their jerseys were being sold. But a lot of these, like I said, that's where I agree. The teams need to do a better job at marketing themselves. For last season, the issue with the jerseys is that those jerseys that you saw were not the official jerseys. The jerseys that were supposed to be played in, there were some issues with the sponsors and this whole betting thing with the other sponsors. And so I believe that those jerseys probably were still on the wharf. Good jerseys. Waterhouse. I remember when Waterhouse was doing well, that you could get Waterhouse jerseys. You go to Waterhouse match, you see like tons of people in your Waterhouse jerseys, right? I remember back in the days, for example, when Reno was doing well, you'd see Reno jerseys, but Mount Pleasant really came and took it to another level where they had Adidas jerseys with player name and proper branding and stuff, and more of that needs to be done. But what I will say is this again. Let me say to people, I believe that we need to have different tiers. You have like a 16 tier, that's your first tier. Those are professional clubs. Then you have several professional and amateur clubs. To me, it doesn't matter how many clubs people want to start in their community, but you have to meet a certain requirement to be called a professional club, or you can't play in the league. Because what you don't want to do, Chris, is you don't want to say to a community that has serious conflict that is seeking to bring unity, you can't start a football club. No, let them start their club, but you know that they're not going to be in your top league because they're an amateur club. But they can do those things for the purpose of social intervention and development in the community, but they may not become one of the professional clubs in your league.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, you know. Nothing is wrong with starting a club. I just think there is too much clubs in the country. There's a lot of clubs in the country. Hold on.
Yeah.
Now, you made mention of they have to meet a certain requirement.
Yeah.
I believe if they do meet that certain requirement, that is going to lead to the reduction of certain clubs.
But that's what I'm saying to you. I don't think, all right. So let me say to you what is happening. Over the last year, they have been pushing to change it to a tier 1 and a tier 2 system.
Which I completely agree with.
So that is why, let me give you an example. One of the reasons why Wadada initially were not allowed to play Mobile United for the final spot is because they did not meet the minimum 130. Remember that they only got like 77 points. So they said to them, you cannot participate in the league because you do not meet the 130 points. Wadada's argument is that when we qualify, we will reach the 130. That's what the rule says. So they are doing that. They are saying that for you to play in the Premier League, you have to have certain things that will make you a professional club, and you're registered with CONCACAF. You're a professional club in CONCACAF. All right.
If you're not stadium, man.
Huh?
What other have a stadium?
You don't. All right. Remember. Let me just say this, right? You don't have to own a stadium because you can lease a stadium.
Yeah, you can do that.
Remember
I know that.
Yeah,
I know that. I was asking.
Yeah. No, they don't own a stadium, but they can lease Jared Park. Mount Pleasant, the stadium that Mount Pleasant uses, they don't own it. They lease it. They have a lease agreement with it.
But But I know. I think I heard Mount Pleasant is actually in talks to actually develop their own pitch.
No. All right. So work with me. Just work with me. Mount Pleasant is building pitches for their academy.
Oh, so they're not building a stadium.
They're building. But all right. So you said pitch, Mr. Pitch, you said stadium. They are building the stadium by the school for the academy.
Yeah.
All right. Draxal is where they're going to play their games. They have a lease.
So Draxal is still their home
under their portfolio because they have a lease agreement. So remember, you don't have to own. The requirement is not to own your own stadium. It's to have an agreement with a stadium. All right. So that don't matter. All right. So that will happen, and then you'll have a second tier of clubs that those clubs don't meet all of those requirements, but they have they reach, like, you have to reach 100. And when you reach 100, you can be in the second tier. Then all the other clubs will be called amateur clubs, basically. Because again, you can't stop clubs from people from starting clubs because there are different levels of football. It's just that they will not be a part of your first and second tier because that is your professional structure. So Kingston can have 1,000 football team. Montego Bay can have 1,000 football teams if they want, you know. But guess what? It's only 2 professional clubs down there. So all the other clubs are going to be feeder clubs because they probably will struggle to matriculate to that level. But you can also have an investor coming in, Chris, and see your amateur club and say, I want to spend $1 billion to bring this to the professional level. Should they allow the club to be in that community? Of course, because money is going to be invested. So
and they're going to meet the requirements as well.
Exactly. So we can't have a limitation on the amount of clubs in a place because people can just start up any football club they want from the corner league, but you can't be in the professional setup.
Yeah, here's the problem that I have with all of that, you know. I think the problem that I have with this whole system that we have now is the matriculation process. We see the matriculation process without a lot of these clubs really meeting that structural requirement, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So a team can a team will go and qualify for that next level, and they're not structurally management, they're not structurally ready for that top tier level, which is why I think that it's a good idea for you to put like a structure in place to say, all right, we can see that you are making the proper steps, or we see that you tick all of the boxes, so we're going to have you matriculate into
Exactly.
that club, because it's the same thing with MLS. That is why
Exactly.
Nashville took some time. That is why Inter Miami took a little bit of time with David Beckham. That is why so many persons took some time to matriculate to that MLS, to the MLS,
Yeah.
because they didn't have that requirement just yet. But hey, the investors and sponsors came in, and they were able to build themselves and tick all of those boxes, and were able to make that transition to the MLS. And I mean, even some of these professional football clubs can have second tier teams. It happens with all of
Exactly.
the countries, because New York Red Bull has a B team. I know Portland Timbers has a B team. If you go over to even Portugal, Benfica has a B team. I think Porto has a B team. There are a lot
Madrid,
of
Madrid and
Madrid
Barca have a B team.
also have a B team. There's so many professional clubs that have second tier teams that say, listen, we can still plug some amount of money into your club, but we have our professionals, and you can make the proper transition into the top clubs from that
Yeah.
All
league
right,
as well.
Yeah.
all right,
So
But hold on,
Chris.
hold on, hold on,
But
Chevron,
also,
hold on, Chevron. CC just came on, so going to give my time to some time to chime in, because we have around nine
but
minutes.
question.
Because hold on, CC,
Yeah.
because we have around 9 minutes to close this stream. And then we have a next video that we're going to do. We're going to interview like I said, one of the first Jamaican youngsters to play in Germany. But go ahead, CC.
Yes, is it that we're saying we would want the league to go in a direction like MLS, where it's like franchise wise? Because at the end of the day, that means there would be a lot of clubs not being able to be promoted. So we cut out the whole promotion system. So it's basically like you would have for example, you would have like a person who have enough money to invest in this club and bring it up to a status of professionalism where we could get it into the national league itself. So is
No,
it that we would like for the league to be changed in the sense that there is no more relegation or promotion?
no. All right. So
no,
what I was saying, cause I agree. What Chris was saying. That's basically what I was saying. We have too many teams right now across the island. So whatever resources we get, it has to be shared with too many persons. I know the relegation thing can't work because against with FIFA's bylaws, you have to have promotion and relegation. Hence why in the US they still have the USL league, because they have promotion and relegation, but MLS is a franchise. My thinking was that in each parish you could have like between two to four professional clubs, and then you have a first division, a second division, and a third division with all of those teams. So those teams are the teams that goes towards, but you can still have the other clubs, but those clubs are basically like for feeder for development. And when you look at this now, you could if you have a team from St. Andrew now, and one way this could even help as well. If it goes to let's say 8 years after the league has run and you realize all a team from a particular parish is struggling, you will know that development is needed in one particular parish. So you know that more resources can
Yeah,
be
but
free.
I can't. No. All right. So here's where I disagree with you. And I can tell you this: there was a time when Westmoreland was very successful in terms of Reno. This is a problem with football. We cannot say, you know what? Let us go down there and pump more resources down there. What about the people who are managing the footballs there? When are we going to hold people accountable?
No, me
that
know
is
that
why.
already. That's
Listen,
why
listen,
me say
listen,
get
listen.
rid of everybody.
No, all right. No, man. So follow my point, though. Here's what
Shit,
I'm
my
saying.
here, yeah.
Here's what I'm saying. If you, I'm talking about the model that you just suggested. That model is working. All of a sudden, St. Mary, the team down there stopped doing well. All right. No, and they drop out of the league. That don't mean that the federation needs to go and pump. It's not, remember, it's not every city in England have a Premier League team. That is not every city in Spain
have a La Liga team. It's not every city in France have a League One team. That are in Germany have a Bundesliga team. The idea of football is not to ensure that every parish and every parish has a Premier League team. It's for the best teams in your country to be in your top league, wherever they are from. What we need to do is to ensure that at the grassroots level, there is, and listen, there is enough. This, all right, let me give you an example. How often has Stets, from Godfrey Stewart, Mannings, look at all of these schools in Western Jamaica, in that little region, have one been in the semifinals and quarterfinals of the Costa Cup. Where are all the players? They are still in those parishes. If 10 of them are overseas, the next 90 of them are down there. What is happening to them? The parish associations need to be held accountable. Not for somebody to say, just give them a team because they don't have none.
I believe the parish association should be disbanded. That's the one more thing I would have said.
Look at Clarendon. Listen, Clarendon had Lennon, Clarendon College, Vere, Glenmore, Thompson Pen. How many teams are in Clarendon in the Premier League? One. Where are all of those players? What's his name? When that fellow, oh my, I forgot his name, was in youth football in Clarendon. Most of the Jamaica youth players came from Clarendon.
Oh, you're talking Jackie Walters?
No, man. He was in charge of youth football, not Jackie Walters, in the entire Clarendon. Mr. Green. Is Mr. Green?
Mr. Green died, you know.
Yeah, man, he died. When Mr. Green was in charge of Clarendon, you never saw a junior team without players from Clarendon. You had Galaxy, Hazards, all of those teams. Well, there are two. Yes, Fresh God from Clarendon, Veer and Humble Lion.
Can't forget Veer, man.
Yeah, there you go.
But
I'm so
thing
sorry.
kind of mash up because, like, remember that Hazard United is a Clarendon side now. Left and migrated to Portmore. Now it's now Portmore United. You had Sporting Central was doing well, but it is just the way in which we do the football. I don't think we think of football as a business more so than an entertainment. So recently I've been reading something where they say no prize money will be given for the winner of the league. The season just closed.
Yeah, we read that earlier. I don't know if Chris, I'm going to WhatsApp it to you here because I don't think you have it.
Yeah, I read there were several things that they were saying in it. Then they were saying that the chairman, basically the clubs owe the chairman's company money. So
yeah, I saw that. Well, we need to hear. All I'm saying is that those are allegations, so we don't know.
I'm not saying. I'm saying allegedly. You know, I am not saying that it is true or it is not true. But I'm just saying it just goes to shame that. And then they're saying even the sponsorship that was spoken of, seems to have been something of a PR stunt, allegedly.
Yeah. So I have the information, and we dealt with it earlier. And so we wait to see. But listen, guys, here's the thing. I have one of the legends coming on today. Is his only day. CC, you need to come on some more, man. Chris.
Yeah.
Chris, I want you to tell them a little bit about your channel. Siobhan, thanks for coming on as well. But I'm going to let Chris. Listen, Mr. Smith, sir. All right, you see this number? All right, you're going to see this number, right? This is Mr. Clive Smith in the chat. You see this number? You need to text this number. This is how you get in touch with I Am Sure Sports. When you get in touch with I Am Sure Sports, we need to interview you, Mr. Clive Smith. This is one of Jamaica's biggest goalkeeper. They call him the Ninja, right? So, Mr. Smith, please, don't run away again, all right? Please make sure you hook up the number because we need to interview you, right? And we don't want to have to be searching all over for you. So, let's see. But, Cece, I'm going to give each of you a couple of minutes to say your last thing. I'll come to Chris last because he's going to get additional time because we have a channel going on. But go ahead, Cece. What do you want to say in closing?
No, well, I came on the stream late, so I guess the whole gist of the conversation I did not.
Oh.
So I'll just give to listen and stuff, man. But on the thing about the development of football in Jamaica and the whole fact that the amount of clubs, I'm looking at it from this perspective. You know, there's a club named Sheriff in the in the Champions League, right?
Yes.
In that league, there's like I think 8 teams, if I'm not wrong. The Moldovan Premier League. I don't think there's 10 teams. And if a country like that can have a club, a league stature that is like less than 10 teams, just like the Scottish League, which is like 12 teams, and they're able to professionalize their league in a way where they can qualify for the
For the
UEFA Champions League,
League.
a Europa League, I think we should look at those models because remember we can have a team, we can have a league with 14 teams, but it's just based on the financial status that we have and bring the league up to a professional standard. Because I'm watching a league where it's all 8 teams in the league, and I'm watching them in Champions League playing against Real Madrid. So that's pretty much what I would want to say.
Very good point. Very good point. Siobhan. Siobhan, you're muted. I'm not hearing you.
Yeah, hear me now?
Yeah, man. Go ahead. Yeah. Your
Yeah,
2 minutes.
my thing just goes towards the whole development. I am more interested in the development of our football itself, not just at the just at the senior level, but at all level, the junior, because we can't have success at the senior unless we have success at the junior. There's no country in the world that has that, so that's just my focus there. Point what CC was saying pertaining to the Sheriff League. The
Not
Sheriff,
the
they did
Sheriff
something.
League. The
The
Moldovan.
Sheriff team, yeah, the Sheriff, the
Yeah.
Moldovan League.
Yeah.
Money is important, but if you look at the salaries in which those players actually get, you can show that it's not a successful league either because there isn't much money pumping. It's just that probably they have good developments there. Without development, you can't have. If you look at Sheriff's football stadium, none of our stadiums in Jamaica, not even the national stadium, I think compares to it. So all of that goes into play of development itself, but that's just my 2 cents for that though.
All right. Chris, the sports guy, man who does the analysis and the commentary and the JPL game. What say you? And tell them a little bit about your channel as well.
All right. So, Sheriff is a perfect example of the fact that there people don't expect you to do things, or people didn't have as much expectations from you, but then you exceed those expectations. I think that they're a good model. What we fail to do is that, as a football country, as a football nation, we fail to look at other models and see where we can tweak them and really turn this thing around, because we do have a lot of good teams here, a lot of good teams, a lot of good local coaches where we can make this into an exciting league. I mean, persons that I've talked to different persons that are not from here. When you look at Jevick McFarlane from Portmore United, that's from St. Lucia. When you look at Melvin Duxley, that's also from St. Lucia, that's not from here. Bill Navis, he's plays for Portmore, but he's not from here. So you have a lot of players that are not from this country that find our league very intriguing and exciting, and we're not doing a lot of marketing to do that. So can you imagine if we actually really put our foot down and say, all right, we can make this into one of the most exciting leagues in our region, which is CONCACAF, then I think we can do that. But I think what our problem is that we are failing to use the models and say, okay, what can we do to basically personalize it? Because, I mean, BlackBerry, Samsung, Apple, they're all phone companies, but they personalized their company to make it different. And I think that is what we need to do. There's a lot of models we can look at, and I think that we need to look at them and personalize it. But that's my take, or my channel. No, it's Chris the Sports Guy, as you can see, as my name tag. I've just crossed 200 subscribers, which people may think it's not a big achievement, but I think it's an achievement for me that persons actually do watch it and like it. Persons can go over there and subscribe. I'm also gonna pop up on I Am Sure Sports every now and again. Of course, a different how should I say, different local YouTube sporting channels here and there. But of course, I knew Mannings man from calling alias. And then no, it was on the coach's desk that I actually saw who he was. But then no, because the articulation, he said, "Yo, Chris, we need you on for one time." But schoolboy football is coming up, Mannings man, so I will be doing some previews on that.
And I getting some transfer news in the Premier League.
Oh,
Seems like a lot of players moving. Like I told you, Cardell Benbow gone to Dumby Holden with
So a lot
there as
of
well. Keith Simpson is there as well. Zelano Barnes is there as well. Andre McFarlane is there as well.
I think one of the most tragic things that I didn't get to see is how rest in peace Tremaine would have looked in that Dumby holding setup. I think that the inclusion of Tremaine would have been so much better for them, because attacking wise they were lacking, and that's why they weren't able to qualify for the playoffs. I think attacking wise they would have been much better. Always rest in peace Tremaine Stewart. But I'm hopefully, if all goes well, I will be doing commentary for schoolboy football, so you can look out for that as well. And I will be doing some live videos. I'm at 200 subscribers. I want by the end of the year to reach at least 500. So if persons can go over there and subscribe, trust me, I will be doing a live video previewing schoolboy football, and I hope that Mannings man can also jump on that.
Definitely, because I have some players I need to look out for. But let me just
CC.
All right. Let me just say something. I know, Mark. Let me just say a couple of things. One, Fresh God. Yes, it was a tournament. I think Clive said it last season. It was a tournament, so they are going to have 8 months of football this time around, because you're going to have a couple of rounds. It's going to be more like what it used to be. All right. Marlon Walker. Yeah, man. We're trying to get Mark Hagler Wilson on the program as well in the Legends Corner. For the persons trying to find out what the ticketing price will be, we will let you know that by tomorrow, what the prices will be. Hopefully, if not tomorrow, by the end of the week, we'll let you know that. Again, we're cutting this stream right now because we want to jump. We have a next stream that we're going to be doing. Very quick, but very good interview with a legend in football. If you're from the Montego Bay region, you know this player. Not going to tell you his name, but you'll want to meet him. In fact, he was beaten by Rossies, a very talented Rossies team in the Dacosta Cup. But he left Jamaica to play football in Germany. And many people didn't know that he had a successful time there. Very good footballer. He going to tell you that after losing, some people take the Dacosta Cup serious. The man stopped playing football after losing the Dacosta Cup. Decided he was so heartbroken. He said that he's not going to play any more football because he lost the Dacosta Cup. Even today, he said, though he has won the Premier League and some other leagues, he would give them up just to win the Dacosta Cup. Some people take them school things serious. You understand me? So we are going to talk to him in a little bit from now. So make sure you hit the notification bells on your phone so that you can be in. You can be in on it tomorrow. Remember, we're giving away to the first Canadian. This is the 1st of November, and we'll be giving away a whole set of Tricknick products to the first person out of Canada. All right. All your products will be shipped to you at no expense to you. Then later today in our video, and every time we have one of the legends on, we're giving someone in Jamaica $500 credit. Right? But you have to answer a question. So you have to be on early, because as soon as we jump on, we're going to put the question out and you have to answer the question. All right. Tomorrow, we'll have Michael Tullo on as well at 11 a.m. If you don't know Michael Tullo, ask about him. He's one of those lethal Jamaican striker who played for the Jamaica Defense Force. They said when he headed the ball, it was like a Ali McNabb shot. Right, that was how hard he headed the ball. So he's going to tell us about that and some very interesting story. You haven't heard anything yet. Yeah, from the JDF. A person who captained Jamaica, and many people don't even know. I mean, he captained the Jamaica national football team. We're going to have him on. We have Alan Skill Cole coming up as well. We have Jasbo coming up. Do you know who Jasbo is? Listen, so we have a lot of legends coming up on the program, so stay tuned. Again, thank you for joining. Thanks to our sponsors, and we are going to end the stream with some notes, a word from our sponsors. And so before you leave and jump off, remember, hit the like button. If you have not yet subscribe to the channel and join us in a few minutes. I'll also be over on Reggae Boyz commentary, looking at some under 23 players locally and abroad to represent Jamaica. So people, come on, hit the like button. Again, thank guys for coming on. Thanks to Neil, who shared some stuff on the legal aspects and the trademark of the Jamaica Football Federation Reggae Boyz logo. Very interesting details. Thanks to Siobhan. Thanks to Chris, the sports guy. Please check out his channel. Show him some love. CC, finally, we meet. Bless up.
Yeah, bless up.
And Chris, anytime, listen. You also have Fresh God. Fresh God follows local football. I always stay in touch with him. He knows what is happening down that side, so you can always reach out to him and he will give you all the information. He's one of the moderators on my
just
platform.
let him subscribe, because I realize he's a very good moderator.
Yeah, man.
So you can spread the word out. Maybe I can get some more subscribers through him. But it's always good to see him moderating. I see him do it for a lot of local channels, and it always works. So yeah, definitely I will contact him.
Yeah, man. All right, so people, bless up, enjoy the rest of your day. Here's a word from our sponsors.
Jerk Marinade gives your meats and vegetables authentic Jamaican jerk flavor. The spices are directly from Jamaica. Spices like jerk seasoning, allspice, Scotch bonnet pepper, fresh scallions, thyme, ginger, and garlic. The key ingredients to a great jerk marinade. 0% sugar and low in sodium. You want to try it?
Jamaican herbs and spices add delicious, bold flavor to your next grilling experience. Flavoring sauce, a marinade, basting, condiment, or topping. Trick Nick Jerk Barbecue Sauce.